I mean, I don't think, like I said, I don't think they really understand how important hitting the like button is. It's really a form of engagement. The more people hit the like button, more people will find it in their, not even in a search engine. It'll just pop up because while we're live, people are liking it. It will show up, and the fact that it shows up, you might get new people to come over here to watch. And when you get new people to watch, like I always say, you have new people to roast. So you should want to do that. So we're live. This is episode 204 of the First and Framerates podcast. Myself, DJ81, Bill's fourth. We are here, obviously, and most people may not know the backstory behind what happened on Tuesday. I think it was a day or a day and a half before I made a video about my uncle, and unfortunately, he's been going through chemo for a while, and my mom knew, and my aunt knew, and obviously his wife. So it was one of my aunts and his wife, and my grandmother knew, and they kept it away from everybody because of they didn't want people to know around the holidays, so they kind of kept it in that circle, which in some instances it kind of upset me, but it's okay. I'm not really worried about that because I do understand. Unfortunately, I tried to go see him, but I had to work this week, and I was supposed to go see him tomorrow, but he didn't make it past pretty much the next day, and it was pretty rough. It still is. I would be lying to say if I'm still not grieving. I'm still not hurting because, outside of my grandfather, my dad wasn't around as much, but I gained to have a relationship with him. But outside of my grandfather, he was the closest thing to me to have a father figure, and he taught me so much growing up. And I felt guilty to an extent because I was not able to see him, and I did not able to spend much time with him as I wanted to. But it's I can't live like that. I can't live with the burden on my shoulder. I can't live with that on my back. I know he wouldn't want me to, and it's one of the reasons why I decided to go ahead and do the podcast today. I did not want to do one Tuesday, obviously, because everything happened on Tuesday, and I would not have been. It just would not have been right. But I do thank you, DJ. DJ tried to take the initiative and wanted to bring you guys a episode. I know he couldn't find a way to get in touch with me because I basically went off the face of the earth for the past 48, 72 hours. And he took the initiative, and I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate you keeping the ball rolling and keeping things going because, even though I'm not here, this podcast is bigger than me. You guys make it go, not just, you guys, obviously the co-hosts, like the fans, the people who listen. You guys are a part of this podcast just as much as any of us are. And you guys deserve to come here or go to DJ Page when he said he was going to make an episode to have fun, enjoy yourself, get away from the things of the world, and actually have a good time when we talk about sports and sports gaming. So, I wasn't going to tell these guys I want to do a podcast until I got off work, because while I'm at work, that's what I'm doing. I'm just trying to stay focused, because when I'm not working, when I'm not doing anything, my mind races. It goes all over the place. And that's one of the reasons why I did not take any days off, because I did not want to sit around and mope. But I knew today was going to be a day that I would have done that, because I don't have to work tomorrow. And tonight would have been a night that I would have, I wouldn't have been myself. So I need you guys. And I'm glad that you guys are here. I'm glad that everybody is here. The ones who are not here yet that are going to be here. I appreciate you guys, because I want these next couple of hours to be where we can, just forget about all of our problems. Forget about all of the things that we have going on. And I know that at the end of the day, I know my uncle would have wanted me to keep going. It's one of the reasons why he kept his situation from us, because he did not want us to stop our lives for him. And it sucks, but we as men, we all do that. I had a medical situation earlier this week, and I did not go to the doctor because of it, because I just don't want to. I don't want my wife to be bothered with it. But it's everything's good now. As far as that goes, it wasn't nothing real serious. It's just like, once it gets cold and, temperature change, you get a little sick or whatever. But unfortunately, it wasn't what we all think it is. It just happens. But we as men, we don't take care of ourselves as much as we want to, which I don't know if anybody can see the shirt, but you see it when I put on not the podcast, but the my live streams when I talk about First and Framerates, sports, gaming, and life. We don't talk about them. We don't talk about life as much, and I'm not going to put the burden on my co-hosts because they may not want to talk about it. If it is, it's fine. I mean, I kind of know what their heads are with that, but every now and then, I don't mind dwelling into that because we all are men here, and we need to talk about just men's health at times. I know DJ's good with that. He's been a personal trainer. He knows a lot more than I do, so I can get some information from him. But we need to do that. We all are getting older. We're not getting younger. And when you see, in my instance, when you see people that are, just literally 15, 20, 25 years older than us falling like they do, I think we all need to take the time to really look at, what we're doing. And we might need to change a few things as far as our habits or what we do health-wise. So I don't want to get too much more of a spill of that. At the end of the day, I do thank everybody for all the replies on Twitter. I really appreciate it. I didn't put anything on Facebook because all my family's on Facebook. I cannot look at Facebook because they're grieving over there, and it's just going to upset me. I can't do that. So I didn't go over there. But I appreciate everybody who has sent their condolences. Thanks to everybody who sent their prayers, their thoughts, and all the other stuff. I'm going to be okay. He's not my immediate family, but he's a very important person. And me and him was very close until I went off to college, and he taught me a lot. So let's just get into it. I don't know where you guys want to go from there. I guess we can go with the intros, and any one of y'all can go first. And let's have some fun.
All right, well, since my channel is still up and running on Twitch, because I definitely could have been canned last night for the stuff I said, implicating certain shadowy political figures in a grand evil scheme. But yeah, my week has been good. I've been just chilling, playing games. I hit a couple of game winners on 2K. I got them posted, so y'all can go check that out. I beat the Clippers, and I forgot what the other team was, but that damn LeBron James effect playing against the Lakers, there's nothing I can do. But ready for another episode. I'm glad we're back. We were going to go, like VF just said, we were going to go regardless. It was probably going to be on my channel, and it actually gave me an idea to change the format on my Twitch show. So, hey, we're here.
All right, Bells, what you got, man? What's going on?
Well, it goes without saying, we're here for you, bro. Every step of the way. That's never gonna change. We were prepared to go ahead without you today, and honestly, even though you were denied, I'm like, DJ, tell him to just sit this one out. But you said you were good, so here we are. And
let me tell you, I appreciate that because, like I said earlier, this podcast is bigger than me, man. Everybody makes this go, and I appreciate you guys taking the initiative because I did not know y'all were going to do that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we knew that you were going to need some time to, collect your thoughts and just let everything register, and we were completely fine with, doing the podcast, by ourselves, and everybody would know exactly why you were absent. It would be completely understandable. But it is good that you are here, and if we could be of any help, then that's what we're gonna be. As far as my
definitely.
Yeah, of course. As far as my week's concerned, kind of par for the course. I'm just kind of looking forward to this weekend. These playoff games are gonna be interesting. And I want to see James Harden's first game in a Nets uniform. Hopefully, he doesn't look like Fat Albert. Like he's been looking like, but other than that, yeah, I've been good. Can't complain.
Hey, Bills, tell them what was going to be the name if we couldn't go the show if VF wasn't going to be able to go.
The name was going to be called Spinoff.
I thought about that. If y'all did this seriously, if y'all did this, and I wasn't able to, I wanted you to send me the file, and I would have put it up on iTunes and stuff.
Yeah, it's funny. When I still had the video. I thought I was going to delete it once we went live because there's no need for it, but it's actually quite funny because Bills had already named it before I actually named it. He literally was just like, just call it, name it, whatever. He said spinoff, and I was thinking about it. I was trying to be clever with it, but when you have a high IQ, you think too much about simple shit.
That shit was
right there.
That shit was like JFK getting sniped. We were scrambling like, we need a name. We need this. We need contingency plans.
Like the sniper's bullet. Yeah. So it was going to be called the spinoff, and it was going to be sponsored by these nuts. And it was.
One more piece of news. This also it was either gonna be unsullied by sponsorship or sponsored by these nuts. That's what it was gonna be.
That's first and Framerates in a nutshell, right there. That's exactly.
Literally, we were sitting here playing this shit out live on YouTube. We were planning this shit out like, all right, it's gonna be sponsored by these nuts.
I had the ticker going and everything. You'll literally see it scrolling at the bottom, just like the ticker that's scrolling. Because I was playing with the toys that you play with every time we go live, so I got a chance to play with the toys, and I was having some fun.
So the other piece of news, big piece of news, I made an Instagram page for the podcast.
Okay.
I advertised tonight's podcast. I did a welcome post. Obviously put the logo. And so we're gonna push the podcast on IG, and we're gonna try to grow this in another form.
I'm glad you did that because I don't have an Instagram page.
I know you don't. That's why I'm like, bro, I never even asked VF what his IG was. I feel like he doesn't have one, so I'm just
messing. I'm gonna be honest. I was hoping somebody heard me say that because it's a running joke that we have about an Instagram page. I have 2 of them. I just don't use them, and I keep telling my wife I don't have one, and she be like, "Yeah, you do," and I'm like, "No, I don't." It's a running joke. So
all right, wait. I gotta address something. Yeah, you play with yourself every single day, so I don't want to hear anything about me and toys
and plastic too. Remember that part
and rubber. So I don't want to hear it.
Let's talk about James Harden, man. I'm not getting into that because he still has yet to answer for that yet.
He's been on the podcast a couple times too. He hasn't addressed it. He's trying to skate past that part.
Yeah, pull up.
Right.
Oh, now he's back to writing in caps. Ooh. Oh, you definitely do have the balls. They're just stuck in your mouth.
Oh, all right, James Harden.
So what kind of? I don't know the entire trade. So what's the trade about? Like what all teams are involved? I didn't know. I don't know.
4 teams involved: Nets, Rockets, Cavs, and damn, I forgot the 4th team already.
Nets, Rockets, Cavs, and Pacers.
Oh yeah, because Victor.
Yeah, because I heard about Victor Oladipo part. I did hear about that. Okay.
Yo, and it's kind of funny. Victor's part in this. Now he's on the Rockets. That pretty much, and it's funny. I look at all the Wizards fans. I look at our GM Shepard, and it's like, so you traded Wall for Westbrook, and basically Wall now has his own deal on Houston.
Before we talk about the James Harden trade and where and who went where. Let's just establish this. We do know James Harden is going to the Nets. Now, I have an article here that I'm calling bullshit on right off the bat. Okay, the title of this article is Brooklyn Nets GM Sean Marks. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving have committed to gelling with James Harden.
Oh, I thought you was going to say they committed suicide.
If only.
Shut up, man. You're stupid.
Brooklyn Nets general manager Sean Marks said Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving have, quote, conviction about the direction of the team in the wake of the trade to land James Harden and are prepared to make the necessary on-court sacrifices to make it work. He said he consulted the franchise's stars as the Nets began to move swiftly toward a trade for Harden on Wednesday. Now listen to this. I was getting their thoughts and really wanted to hear what their commitment was going to be, what their conviction was. I enjoyed hearing that conviction, and we've got some time to see how this translates on the court. Now, pause. You can't get Kyrie Irving to show up to work without James Harden. Now, all of a sudden, you can get into contact with that man to ask him, oh, do you want us to trade for James Harden or do you not? Come on, bro. I'm calling bullshit on this. Like, okay, remember, in the offseason, they said Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant both signed off on Steve Nash, right? Why are reports coming out now that Kyrie Irving didn't sign off on Steve Nash? You see what I'm saying? It's like I'm calling bullshit on this. Now, they might welcome a third star coming there because they think that it bolsters their chances of winning. But as we get into this trade and the things that they gave up, they're not going to be so happy about this. So let me just bring the trade up here.
I got it right here. It's on screen.
Yeah. So they get James Harden in a second-round pick in 2024. That's not going to matter. That's 3 years from now. The Rockets get Victor Oladipo, Dante Exum.
3 years from now. So they traded for a freshman in high school.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, so the Rockets get Victor Oladipo, Dante Exum, and Caruth from the Nets, who actually didn't play that bad last year. The Rockets got a boatload of draft picks. All you need to know. The Pacers got Karis LeVert and a 2023 second-round pick. And the Cavaliers got Jared Allen and Taurean Prince. So, basically, the Nets gutted all of their depth to get a cancerous-ass player. Spencer Dinwiddie's out for the season.
And the out-of-shape one, too.
I mean, look.
Bloated Blackbeard.
Spencer Dinwiddie's out for the season.
Hold on 1 second. Keep talking. I'm going to pull it back up in a second. Go ahead.
So, I mean...
just want to do something real quick.
I'll tell you what. I already put it out there.
Either.
Oh, yeah. I already put it out there that Houston lost this trade. No, not Houston lost the trade. That Houston won this trade. Oh, yeah. They got the most. They got added depth. They have a Bradley Beal type player in Oladipo to pair with Wall and Cousins. I tried to tell everybody, nobody was listening. Soon as Houston got Wall, it was Wall's team. And
did you hear what Boogie said?
Oh yeah, it was just like it was mad disrespectful, but it was before all that.
No. But did you hear what he said before that? He's like, I don't care about coming to play with James Harden. I came here to play with John Wall.
Exactly.
He basically said it in a press conference. He's like, I don't really care about James Harden. I came here to play with John Wall, and I respect that because
they were teammates in college.
Yeah. For 1 year.
The thing is, if you're James Harden and you come out in the media after missing training camp and going 5 for 6,
all the McDonald's franchises,
eating everything in sight at every Atlanta club you could find, and then showing up to work out of shape, and you say, "Oh, well, I don't think we're good enough." Well, bitch, how would you know if they're good enough? You haven't practiced with them long enough. No wonder you aren't gelling. You barely practiced with them. When you did, you were busy fighting with rookies. When you weren't fighting with rookies, you weren't passing the ball in practice. John Wall took the high road a couple weeks ago. I told you that would change, DJ. I told you that shit would change.
Oh, it was going to change. John Wall only holds back for so long.
John Wall went from "it's none of my business whether he wants to be traded" to "oh, you gonna jump off the ship after 9 games?" he changed his point of view real quick. I know he wasn't trying to step on any toes, and that's what I said back then. I said John Wall is not trying to step on any toes. But trust me, James Harden in that press conference, he said, "Well, we just don't have enough." You have a guy that was the best center in the league a couple years ago. You have a guy that was a top 5 point guard in the league for most of his career. You have the best 6 man in the league, arguably, in Eric Gordon. What else do you need? Like seriously, if you're as good as you think you are, what else do you need? Seriously, I'm like, James Harden wants all the touches of a superstar, but he doesn't want the responsibility of a superstar. That's really what it comes down to. He wants.
I mean, I seen it after like his second year in Houston. I noticed that. Bro. The first year in Houston, it seemed like he act like he wanted it, but after that, it's like, yeah, I want all of this, but it ain't my problem when things go bad.
We've gone over this list mad times on the podcast. Dwight Howard, Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook. Those are 3 superstars he ran out of the building. Mm-hmm. He ran Daryl Morey out of the building. You don't
even have to talk about the superstars. Look at the people that were actually decent players around him. They're gone.
Yeah, Gerald Green.
You know what I mean? It's not just the superstars. You know, it's not just the superstar, the big names. It's like the other guys that was there that don't want to play with him no more. They all just left.
Front office. Daryl Morey, Mike D'Antoni, fired.
Trevor Ariza.
Trevor exactly. That's what I'm talking about. People like that. Trevor Ariza. You just ran them off.
Kevin McHale, years ago.
Clint Capella.
Yep.
And think about this. Everybody thought that Houston was simply buying into the 7 seconds or less analytics-driven basketball because Daryl Morey wanted it. But remember, that just opened the floor for James Harden more to isolate. Because they just paid Clint Capella, which means they wanted to feed him in the post and get him some touches so he could earn his money. And James Harden's like, nah, get him the fuck out of here. We'll have 6'6" PJ Tucker play center. Yeah, okay. How did that work out? I mean, so my question to y'all is, how do you think this turns out for the Nets? Not short term and long term.
Horribly.
Short term, I think they'll have maybe 2 good years. They have 2 good years, and I would not be. I'm being honest. I would not be surprised if they get 1 ring out of it. I don't think they will, but I wouldn't be surprised to get 1 ring. But after that, at one point the Nets was the team that had all the picks. Now they basically like, you know, what was that team? They were like Boston. They got all those picks from Boston at one point, and now it's the other way around, and they don't have any picks. So after these 2 years, they may be little to nothing. They're going to be back the way they were when the Nets was trying to tank for people, but you can't, you know, they can't take for anybody when they don't have any picks. I mean, they're going to be, they better hope and pray that the Rockets don't do good, because they're going to be swapping picks with the Rockets to get decent picks in the next, 7-8 years. So short term, they're going to have some type of success, but I think after 2023, they're going to have some problems.
DJ?
I look at it like this, and a quote comes to mind from Batman Begins: "Never sacrifice sure footing for a kill stroke."
Let's look at it. Okay, let's dissect this X's and O's wise for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, DeAndre Jordan's still here, but Jared Allen was your center of the future. You got rid of him.
Right. See, that's what I'm saying.
You have nobody to play backup center, because guess what? Nobody else on your squad is even 7 feet, except KD.
But let's even go into even before they made this trade. They already were playing DJ over Allen anyway.
But the thing was,
and that was kind of crazy, because everybody's like, Allen should start and DJ should come in off.
But it was a good balance, because you had both of them and they kind of were the same player. They didn't need touches, and they would block shots, right? And you had 2 of them basically split minutes, and it was nice. Now you don't have a center on your roster aside from DeAndre Jordan. That's the first issue. Secondly, and most importantly, the dudes that you have flanking your starting 3 stars are not good. You have Landry Shamet, who can't create his own shot. You have Tyler Johnson, who I like, but come on, he's not a transcendent player. Spencer Dinwiddie's injured. Jeff Green's inconsistent. And there's nobody else worth mentioning. So when you match them up against teams in, the Western Conference that have centers and bigs, not just starting but off the bench, it doesn't look good for Brooklyn right now. It doesn't look good at all for Brooklyn. You have 2 guards now that won't defend.
Yeah, pretty much.
And before this, Kevin Durant was allowed to play the 4 and not have to worry about checking fours. Now he actually has to guard fours. He has no choice now. So
Yeah.
it's going to be an entertaining dumpster fire. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be two guys averaging 27, one averaging 25, and you're going to hope and pray, if you're a Nets fan, that they can find 60 points elsewhere from somebody else, from the rest of the team.
Like I said, I think that just the way the NBA is set up right now, they have the tools to maybe win one out of the next 2 years.
You think a ring?
I think they can get it. I'm not saying that they will. Like I said, if they get one, I would not be surprised. I'm not rooting for it. I don't think it's going to happen, but they have the tools to get at least one. But that's only in a 2-year window. After the second year, this organization is going to be back to where they were, 4 years ago.
This would be the second time that they've made a trade for superstars that will fire up in their face. So
when they did it with the Celtics, same thing. And Doug Thomas, I'm not against you. I don't think they will win one. I don't think so. But if they win one, I would not be surprised. To me, it's more like 70-30 that they can win one. Because, they got a really good chance with the team, but I don't think they will. But if they do, I'll be like, oh, okay, I see this. But I'm not rooting for it, and I'm not betting for it.
First off, I'm not even confident that Kyrie Irving is going to play in a Brooklyn Nets uniform again this season.
And that's another thing. And if he don't play, then all bets are off. They may make it to the ECF.
Because the thing is, they're basically just banking on superstardom in their starting lineup. And
right.
If one of them doesn't show up, then you have no bench and you have a superstar that didn't show up. So it's like, once again, I feel bad for Kevin Durant, and I partially on the court feel bad for Kyrie Irving. But James Harden's bitch ass, he's the one that forced his way out of Houston. Mm-hmm. You better win a fucking ring. Because who are you going to blame this time? Who are you going to blame?
The hilarious part about it, he'll find somebody to blame.
And his fans will be there to say, yeah, he's right. Kyrie Irving dribbled the air out of the ball. What the fuck did he do in Houston all them years? So that's the thing. It's like, this is going to be
out the ball.
Hey, look, they should have a cheeseburger around a rubber band on a ball handler's head every time he guards them. Maybe he'll fucking be able to check them.
James Greasy ass Harden.
Bro, you know what? Watch him magically.
Fats Hardin.
Watch him magically show up in shape.
No, he can't shed that. He can't shed that. He's not going to shed that. Well, no, the only way he'll be able to shed that because they wear black. Black makes you look small. So that's the only way he's going to be able to shed it.
He can shed that.
That's what I'm saying. Just don't wear white. Which they do, by the way, when they go on the road.
James Harden's going to show up. James Harden going to show up in 2012 James Harden shape, and he's going to act like he's buying it.
Go ahead.
Starvation diet.
No. What I was saying is the fact that he's the people that are around him now and the team that he's on. All of a sudden, he's going to slim back up. It just seems like he's in a different environment. Will it help? Obviously, it will. But you're going to see the old James Harden. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but you're not going to see Puff Harden. You're not going to see that.
I'll be honest. I'll be honest, right? Okay. Let's say they trade for a backup big, right? If they trade for a backup big, I would make them the favorites in the East. Simply because at that point, all you have to do is, as long as Harden, Kyrie, or as long as two of them are in the game at all times, they would probably make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. But I don't see them with enough rim protection when it comes to playoff time. And that's the issue for me. They need to trade for a center. They have.
I think
48 minutes.
I think trading is out of the question at this point. I don't think they got nothing to give. if they wanted to.
They can find something.
They can trade that lousy ass pick they just got, and I'm sure somebody will give them a backup big. They don't need anything special. They're gonna start DJ anyway. They just need a big that will
come in and give you stand in for paint, do a little bit of interference, and give you some fouls.
Yeah, take fouls, and make shots at the rim hard. And if they can do that, they match up well against pretty much every other team in the Eastern Conference. Because I feel like James Harden will, at least for a while, buy in, right? Every superstar has that little, 1 year where they buy in and they're doing everything right and they're saying everything right. Now, after that, all bets are off. But
see, that's what I was saying. I think that's going to be the second year. I don't think it's going to be this year. It'll be the second year that they're together. They'll try to buy in and they'll try to make a pretty good run. But like I said, after that second year, man, is the Nets is going to be a problem, and I'm not talking about it in a good way. That organization is going to have a serious problem on their hands because I don't think these three collectively are going to be able to run after 2 years.
The issue is, we saw it with the Celtics, but the issue with the Celtics was more so them being a bit too unselfish. These guys is the opposite because
you've seen it. Look, you've seen it with the Celtics, and a lot of people don't want to admit it. You kind of saw it with the Miami Heat when they were running them because after the second,
being too unselfish.
Yeah, but after the second year, you really saw LeBron be LeBron, and that's when you saw the pretty much the maturation of LeBron. Not even like on the court or off the court. You just saw a different type of player at that point. But it was like, with these super teams, I've noticed like you have maybe a 2 to 3 year window where everything is going to click, and if you can't get it done, I mean, even with the what's the team, the Warriors, same thing. After the second year, it's like you see how things fell apart. So it's like
the issue with these guys, that's different from the Celtics and even the Heat was that these guys are all in their primes,
right? And there's no maturation point with this. There's just you are what you are at this point.
And none of them are going to say there's going to be one guy that has to be. And I know DJ is going to get this example. There's going to be one guy that's going to be the Adrian Dantley. Like, wait a minute, why am I the third guy? And they had to get his ass out of there. I mean, you're talking a league leader in scoring.
I kind of look at it like this. That will be Kyrie. Will be that. I came back for this to be the third option. Like,
it's interesting because on 2K this is like a dream come true, right? Shit, you get a Harden. But in real life, where guys actually care about getting touched, I mean, they do on 2K, but not to the volatile point that they do
this is the beautiful thing about video games. If you honestly play them straight up, it can be a problem if you play it the right way. Most people play video games like video games, but
2K definitely has those. Yeah, they have it in there, but the players don't become as toxic as obviously.
No. I mean, you can't replicate a real personality, but
right.
You do have it to where some players will feel a certain way to the point where their ratings do start to go down in 2K. And that's a good thing.
2K, if this was 2K and you made this trade in your my league, Kyrie Irving's rating would go down like 5 points.
See, that's what I'm saying. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. They have it in there, and that's the beautiful thing about it. See, and we'll talk about this when we get to the importance of gaming later on. But this is the thing a lot of people don't look at. A lot of people pick up the game and play and don't realize, like somebody like DJ who's really been into the my league thing. I haven't because I just lost interest in basketball for the most part, but I still love it. But once you go into these modes, the developers have done a really good job of immersing those type of things in the games, but nobody really it's an untapped mechanic that are in a lot of these games that nobody looks at, and it's kind of unfortunate, but we'll talk about that later.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, yeah, I'll maintain that I think the Lakers are going to repeat this year.
Yeah, I think they just and that funny clip that was done, or the skit that was done by RDC World, it was hilarious. But LeBron has nothing to worry about because it's not like Brooklyn's gonna just come out of the East and challenge for the championship. Mm-mm.
Last year, looking at the Lakers roster, I thought they were susceptible to a loss to a couple of teams. mostly the Clippers. But now that I've seen the Clippers in action when things matter, it's not even close to a worry for them because we've already seen them. Denver still seems like they're a year or two away before they're mature enough to take out a Lakers team. So I mean, honestly, yeah, there's no team that I can look at and say, oh yeah, they'll beat the Lakers in a 7-game series. I don't think
Right,
changed
right.
anything.
I tell you this much: if in 2K I can come from behind and beat the Clippers after being down by almost 15, 16 points, yeah,
All right, imitate life.
Right. Even though Kawhi didn't play, it would have been more difficult with Kawhi in there, but still, I beat the Clippers and came back from a deficit to do it, and did it in the final 6 minutes of the game. So
That's pretty dope. I mean, if you saw my NBA Live 19 stream when Steph Curry just went off on me, I mean, with my NBA Live 19, I mean everybody's all over the place, and in my dynasty, Steph Curry's with Oklahoma City, but I mean, dude was like, I think he like went 12 or 14 from three. He was killing it. He had like 42 points, but we shut him down in the fourth quarter, and it's like in the last 6 minutes we came back from like 12 or 13 to win, and LeBron ended up having like 40 points, 5 assists, 8 rebounds. I mean, it's pretty cool. But like I said, talking about the importance of the game, we'll talk about that later. It's amazing how those things can happen if you just play these games straight up and play to your strengths and weaknesses, and having those W's make them really, they make them real satisfying and enjoyable. But yeah, we'll talk about that down the road. Anything else y'all got with this trade? I mean, I think we covered pretty much all this stuff. I think look like the Rockets run straight, like they robbed the Nets. I mean, you look at all those picks. I mean, let me just look at this: 3 unprotected first round picks.
yeah.
Well, here's what I'll say about the Rockets. People need to look out for the Rockets in the Western Conference, and I'm dead serious.
I'm with you on this one.
This makes them more of a contender than the fucking Nets are. If you think about the depth that their team has, they have glue guys like Eric Gordon and PJ Tucker still. If both of them guys are still there,
wait a minute.
You have a chip on their shoulder.
Wait a minute. You got Oladipo, Exum, and Kukaris.
Right.
I mean, they got a pretty good squad still on top of these picks.
Right. They have a good team now that's going to turn into contenders, and they have a bright future ahead of them.
The Rockets,
the key recipe to a future dynasty and be able to outlast a LeBron James tail end of his career. So,
I mean, that's another.
They got Karis LeVert, who has a chip on his shoulder because he got traded away from a team in favor of James Harden. They got John Wall with a chip on his shoulder because everybody said he was done.
Nope.
Karis went to the Pacers.
Why did they put Karis? Why is he on the Rockets team roster then?
It says 2 Pacers. Karis LeVert from Rockets via Nets.
So
yeah, he went to the Pacers.
Yeah, because Karis LeVert is with the Pacers. Jared Allen to the Cavaliers because they were talking about how
they got rid of both of their big men.
Right.
Bro, it says he's on the Rockets now.
Really?
On everything I'm looking at.
Okay.
So
that's interesting.
I gotta look because
I got this from ESPN, so I don't know who's right or who's wrong.
They're probably right, but I'm just looking. I guess he did, but
are you looking at like the rosters for the teams, or are you looking at
looking at NBA.com? NBA.com, it had him on there.
Oh, you know what?
That's
you know what? When they made that when the trade happened, I actually went there. They were still of course, this was when the trade happened. They were literally the team had the site down so they could work. So they probably are just getting to
probably didn't update it or something.
Right.
I don't know. So, it's just, I mean, I got this off ESPN just now, and I did was
he's probably there, and that's interesting too. I mean, they still have a good young team. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, because I just cropped this image off the website and just posted it up here, so it's on ESPN right now.
Indy's talking about him, so I'm sure all the Pacers sites are talking about him. So.
Okay, that's cool.
But they're probably gonna make the playoffs too. The Pacers, so there's that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. All right, let's talk. Let's talk about.
I'm looking at the roster now. Karis LeVert, number 22. Yep.
All right, let's look at another image. Let's look at this other bracket right here. What y'all think about this right here? What we got going on here? We got the playoffs, the NFL playoffs. We got the Browns playing the Chiefs. We got the What is this again? The Ravens? Yeah, that looks like a Raven.
What is this again?
Ravens. Ravens playing the Bills. We got what is this?
The fuck is that? Yeah.
What is it? What is that? This is what the this is not this is the
like if they combine and form some
this is
type of
this is the LA this is the
wave.
Yeah, this is the LA Waves. LA Waves playing
like goodbye.
I'm not gonna lie, that does look like a low budget ass logo. We didn't talk to OG about that.
This look like something that you would see on APF.
It does. It definitely does.
It looks like something you would see on APF. Too. And then you have here the Green Bay Packers, and they're playing against each other. And then you got the Tampa Bay Swashbuckles playing against the New Orleans Catholics.
That also could be a swashbuckle type.
So I was talking to DJ about this. I'm leaning towards picking Cleveland, bro.
You know what? Let me tell you something right now. When Cleveland beat the Steelers, you know what vibe I got?
What?
I got and I know you can relate to this, Bills. I got the Chicago Cubs vibe. Let the motherfuckers get one. Just let them get one. They suffered for so long, and like fuck all these other teams. Just let them get one.
You got Cleveland, you got Buffalo on the other side.
And that's another one. That's another one. Just like, fuck it, let them get one.
You let Kansas City get one after all those years, so you can
The Browns are giving me New York Giant vibes from the year that they put the undefeated streak. They have the same team. They run the ball really well. They have one good target.
They can press with the front four. Mm-hmm. So you might be right about that.
If they keep the ball to Kansas City's hand, I mean, you know, Kansas City's going to score their points. I mean, it's going to happen. But if they can find a way to keep Kansas City under 24, like right around 24, they'll win that game.
Mm-hmm.
So
a lot of people don't know. Like the Chiefs have been playing good football, but they had to play more of a complete. They had to play more of a complete team this year. They're not like this. You know, not many people talk about them as a high-power offense as they was a year before. So they've done.
Hurt, by the way.
Yeah, I mean they've done a very good job of keeping this team afloat, but they're not the big bad Chiefs that people are, looking at. I mean, for God's sakes, they almost lost to the Falcons a couple weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're not like this team that are like world beaters. They can be had. Will they be? I doubt it, but. They can be had. They're not like I don't think that. I mean, obviously they're the favorite because they're the defending champs. But I don't think it's a runaway like we would thought it was in the beginning of the season when we thought that they're going to be playing the same way they did last year. Because what's their record? They're like 15-1 or something like that. Let me look.
14-2, I believe.
Yeah, 14.
It's just, but the way they won their games, it doesn't seem. I mean, look. They lost to the Raiders and they almost lost again to the Raiders twice. You know what I'm saying? They're not like this team that I don't look at the team that they're like a world beater that's going to beat everybody easily. So they can be had.
Doug Thomas said Baker can play you out of games now. I don't think that's in him anymore. There's a totally different dynamic to this team now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
They're
I do
a
agree
team
with
that
that.
runs the ball. Bro, I told DJ I was watching ESPN today. Did you know they're third in rushing yards per game? They average 148 rushing yards per game.
And you know what they said?
I'm looking at a lot of these games. I mean, they blew out the Broncos. Okay, they blew out the Chiefs. Okay, I mean they blew out the Jets. Okay, in every other game, it's been like 23-20. 34-20, 35-31, 33-31. They beat the Panthers by 2. 16-22 against the Broncos. The second time they beat the Saints by 3. They beat the Falcons 3. They beat the Dolphins by 5. 6. So they're not running through teams like they did last year. Yeah, I'm with you. I'll take the Chiefs by maybe 6 or 7 at the most.
I'm not going to be like Chase Claypool and be a bitter housewife talk about or bitter ex-wife talk about the Browns are going to get clapped. So
yeah, I mean I'm taking the Chiefs by a hair, but I will not be surprised if these guys out of Cleveland are running high and they just decide to sneak up on them and beat them.
Completely Dictionary said they called Tomlin and said let them win. No, he's a fraud. Stop! Don't do that.
Let me tell you something about the Steelers organization in general. Something's going wrong with that organization. There have been talks of getting rid of Tomlin.
We said it 3 years ago. When
I know. No,
players.
I agree with you, but I'm just saying now it's official that they're actually talking about it now, and I'm actually surprised at that. But yeah, I mean,
Big Ben's ass can go home, and Mike Tomlin's ass can find another job, and they can go and start racist ass Mason Rudolph. And
speaking of another job, y'all know it's a really under the radar job that nobody talked about that can be really dangerous. Dan Quinn went to the Cowboys as the defensive coordinator. That could be a problem for the NFC East. And I'm not joking when I say that. Him as a head coach, yeah, I get it. He's not that guy, but a defensive coordinator, he's a nightmare. You see what he did with Seattle. Just keep that in the back of your mind. But yeah, I'm dead serious about that. And the Cowboys defense already was not that bad. So there's something to look at. But let's look at the Ravens and the Buffalo Bisons.
The M Bisons.
The B Bisons.
So this one's one that can go either way, right? Because you have Baltimore, who seem to find the offensive formula to put a lot of points up. You got Buffalo, who's looking pretty steady. I mean, to me, Buffalo looks like the best team in the AFC right now.
I can agree with that.
And that's without being able to run the ball last week. That's what's scary about it. I was like, yo, these guys are having trouble running the ball. All of a sudden, Josh Allen throws a frozen rope to Stephon Diggs, and it's like, you don't even think about it anymore.
I wonder how long that's going to last. And also, the other story is that we want to talk about making something out of nothing through the media. I know I talked about it with Chase Young last week. I'm going to say it again with Lamar Jackson. They're talking about he doesn't want to play in snow. I'm like, the fuck?
Yeah, they really made that out of nothing. They're like, I mean, they did that before. I mean, earlier when he won that game against the Titans, he finally got that first win. I'm like, oh, he's what, 24? That was his second playoff game. It's like, finally, what are we talking about? You act like this man been in the league for 7 years. I mean, this is second play. As a matter of fact, is this his first playoff?
Third playoff game, second game.
His second one starting, yeah, because the first one he got pulled, and I'm not going to lie.
He came in.
He got put in, yeah.
He got put in, that's right, because Flacco got pulled.
Yeah,
that's right, Flacco got. So the first one, technically, the first one don't count. Because he was thrown in at halftime. He almost
came back and won that game. So
right, but I still don't. I ain't gonna say I hold it against him or not. It's just like I'm not gonna say that's his playoff game. He just came into play, but it's literally a second start, and they're like making it a big deal. He finally got the monkey off his back. He won his first. Like, you act like this man had like played 11 playoff games or something.
Right?
Like, shut up. But
you know what's crazy? Just a side note. Somebody had the nerve to tell me that Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts were running the same offense and had the same conditions, and that I was judging Jalen Hurts unfairly. I said, first off, Jalen Hurts' reads weren't even deep to shallow. His read was one read and take off. Lamar Jackson's reads are deep to shallow, and you can tell where his eyes are when the ball snaps. I'm not even going to sit here and try to compare them because Lamar Jackson is worlds above Jalen Hurts and always will be. I'm tired of people making excuses for Jalen Hurts. I don't care if he's a rookie. I said he shouldn't have been playing. He should have been drafted where he was. Now everybody's making excuses. I'm like, we knew who he was coming out of college.
With Doug Peterson gone, we kind of got the answer where Wentz is going to be. Wentz is going to be the starter next year, and they're just going to continue to get the offense to work around him. Which I think at the end of the day, I think that was the right move. But we could talk about the Eagles another day because somebody in the chat are probably going to show up and start putting everything in the comment section. But I that's good to know because I think it's still kind of early for Wentz to be moving out of Philadelphia.
That definitely was a messed up situation.
Let me answer complimentary real quick because he asked me about this Mike Tomlin thing. So here's why I say Mike Tomlin was a fraud. Mike Tomlin had basically an all-pro roster for about 2 or 3 years with Le'Veon and AB and Ben Roethlisberger, all the targets he can think of, and pretty good defense. He didn't make a Super Bowl and win it. He made one Super Bowl against Aaron Rodgers about a decade ago. They got smacked. Ever since then, people have been making excuses for him, pretending that he's doing more with less. He ran Le'Veon Bell and AB out of town, and now he's stuck with the TikTok boys and Chase Claypool and Juju, and they can't win a playoff game. They lost a home playoff game and were down 28-0 in the first quarter against a team that didn't even have their head coach on the sidelines. I'm just tired of people making excuses for Mike Tomlin when he has so much say in everything that happens in this organization, and still he can't get over the hump. I mean, the Steelers, like the Ravens, are not that much better than the Steelers every year that y'all need to make excuses for this man. Yeah, it's not you, complimentary. It's just in general. Like I don't get where these excuses. Well, he's had a winning record. Yeah, because he's had the same fucking quarterback. There's some stability there. He's had the same line. That'll get you 9 games right there. So,
especially in a weaker, especially in a weak division. Especially in a weak division. You got to think about it. Throughout those 9-10 years, you had the Bengals, you had the Browns, and the Ravens was basically equal.
It was just them and the Ravens.
Right, and in some cases, the Ravens just was not up the par to the Steelers at times.
Right. So I mean,
wait a minute. Didn't they also spend the first part of that before? Tomlin's been their coach
since 2009, right?
Okay, so this was after they.
He left a year after the bust them won. I think Cowher left a year after they won. That was 2008. No, when did the Steelers win that championship with Bill Cowher? 06? Okay. It was against the Seahawks, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it was 06 then. It was 06.
No.
2006, 2007.
No, wait a minute. Was Bill Cowher the coach when they won against the Cardinals?
No, yes. Tomlin was the coach then.
What?
I remember that. That's the one that they won with.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Tomlin was, they won. Cowher was the coach when they beat the Seahawks.
Right.
So complimentary. That's my thing. It's not even you making excuses. I'm saying people in general.
Yeah, it was 2006.
Yeah, they give this dude a long leash. I'm like, bro, you're playing in a weak division. It's really a 2-team division every single year, right? And you keep hearing this. Well, he's doing more with less, and he's having a winning season every year. And it's just like, dude, I just don't get where this long leash for Mike Tomlin is coming from. That's why I think he's a fraud. When it comes down to winnable games in the playoffs, they don't win them. Think about it. Think about how different people would view Mike Tomlin if they would have lost that game where they had dumbass Vontaze Burfict committing that penalty against AB. If the
I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna be the first one to admit when I first saw that that shit was legal as hell.
Bro, if the Bengals,
I felt so bad because I thought that shit was legal because I saw it in fast motion. When I saw that shit in slow motion, Burfict tried to take dude's head clean off his shoulders.
He's like, if the Bengals weren't so, if they weren't
stupid.
So stupid,
undisciplined, they could have ran through that entire division because that team was actually good.
Right. So that's my thing is like we got to think about how many times his teams have been let off the hook too. Yeah. So I mean, shit. Wasn't he the head coach when the Jaguars came into Pittsburgh and stomped their ass out? Wild card weekend.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and that's another collapse because the Jaguars should have been good for the next 6 years after that team. That was a damn good team they put together. They should have, to this day, that Jaguars team should have still be contending to be in the playoffs. And I don't know what the hell happened to that organization. Speaking of that, we're gonna talk about that in a minute because Quaface has a question about the Jags. But Complimentary Sports says I feel like I make excuses because he's black. To be honest, and I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of people do that because you know why, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. That's a part of it because he actually coaches for the most part. And I'm not saying it's successful or whatever. He coaches the right way. He does right for the most part. Now the last 3-4 years it's questionable, but the entire part of his career he's done it the right way for the most part. Also, when you win a Super Bowl, it buys you time. Almost in some cases, winning a Super Bowl can buy you up to a decade worth of coaching. Do I agree with it? No, but it does. So people make excuses on both ends. So complimentary sport, you're not the only one that feel that way.
The other issue with Mike Tomlin that I have is, you know, he alienated Le'Veon Bell and AB for basically telling the truth about how Ben Roethlisberger was treated within that organization, right? Mm-hmm. And he would come out in the media and basically alienate them and act like they weren't buying into the team way. It's like, look, dude, they're telling the truth about your quarterback. He's coddled. He never gets any type of discipline for calling people out. And I mean, shit, he hung AB out to dry. On
a couple occasions.
But more importantly, the one that sticks out to me is when he threw that pick against Denver, and it was a ball that had no business being thrown, and there was no chance AB was going to catch it. It was picked off, and he said, "Oh well, you guys just stop running on routes." AB's like, "You didn't throw a catchable ball." Right? And then all of a sudden, that's the first talk of this. AB is a cancer, and Le'Veon Bell sitting out. It's like there's no wonder that this is happening. James Harrison addressed it after he went to the Patriots, and then retired later. He talked about it. He talked about how Ben Roethlisberger is really the one that runs that organization, and Mike Tomlin was just a puppet. So I don't fuck with him because he doesn't hold his quarterback accountable. And go ahead.
I was
gonna say the one last thing is you took this 1 year where those two players were missing, Le'Veon Bell and AB, and you took that for granted. And guess what happened? Now you're stuck with James Conner, who you thought was Le'Veon Bell's replacement, and he ain't it. Now you're stuck with Juju, who got stats as a result of AB's attention, the attention on AB, and now you find out he ain't it. So, I mean, that's an indictment on Mike Tomlin. But yeah, go ahead.
Before we go to the NFC, when we talk about the LA Wave and the Green Bay Packers, what do you think? Quaface put this question up since we talked about the Jags for a second. Said, what do y'all think about Urban Meyer going to the Jags? He's the new coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars. DJ, I know you're a Florida State fan, so you know how things kind of are down there in Florida. Urban Meyer is really big down there for the Gators, and basically he's going to be coaching the NFL team in their backyard. How do you think this is going to go? Because I'm going to be honest, I don't know.
Well, he will be looking at a long coaching career because the way they view the Florida Gators coaches, where they view Florida State coaches, is that they pretty much wind up staying longer than they are supposed to. I feel like, the staff that Urban Meyer is probably going to put together will be a staff that will have something going like John Gruden in Las Vegas, where they'll be there for a while. Will he be able to foster anything down in Jacksonville? Well, to my knowledge, Jay Gruden is no longer the offensive coordinator.
Oh no, he's getting ran out of it because the thing about I'll get into that. Keep going.
Yeah. So as long as Jay Gruden is not a part of the equation, I think Urban Meyer is going to do just fine. I think he can draw some attention outside the wrestling federation that Jacksonville is associated with. So if he's able to just draw attention from AEW, so that way the Cons can just be like, all right, we're back to focus on football. Because right now they've been more focused on their wrestling organization than they have the football team.
Right. So, well, what are your thoughts about this move, Bills? What are your thoughts?
I don't like college coaches that had huge success in the NFL.
Steve Spurrier.
I don't like coaches that had a lot of success in college going to the NFL.
I was about to say that why I named Steve Spurrier.
Yeah, what's his
Butch
name?
Butch Davis.
Nick Saban.
Yep, Nick Saban. Butch Davis.
Which coach was the one that he quit on his team?
Petrino.
Yeah, that was
the only
that
one
was
I
the
can
Falcons,
think of.
wasn't it?
Yeah, he quit on the Falcons.
The only one I can think of that had huge success in college and had great success in the NFL was Jimmy Johnson. Outside of that,
and the thing about that, Jerry Jones ran him clean up out of the NFL to the point that he don't even want to coach again. That was that bad.
So cocaine played a lot in that transition from Miami to Dallas.
No. The thing is,
Man, you mean to tell me? Come on, you can't tell me that.
I'm ignoring that part. I'm ignoring that part.
It was like cocaine central down in Miami.
Yes, we get it.
And then
Mike Norman had the cocaine sweats. Yes,
and then just for a second, Dan Quinn running the plantation. He's an overseer. Of course, he's gonna be dangerous. He's on the Dallas Cowboy plantation.
Complimentary Sports said the Seattle coach. He's talking about what's his name, Pete Carroll.
Hey,
yeah, a lot of wait a minute. A lot of people don't know Pete Carroll was not a really good NFL coach at first. I mean, he coached the Patriots. He coached the Patriots at one point. They weren't that good.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing with college coaches, both in the NBA and in the NFL, that's an issue. Jimmy Johnson and Pete Carroll are two coaches that had huge success in college that get that they're coaching pro athletes, not college athletes. You're not coaching motherfuckers on scholarship. You can't talk to them like they're on scholarship. A lot of these coaches come in here and try to rule with an iron fist and don't got no pedigree in NFL. They find out right away they're not going to respond to that tough love and iron fist shit. That look at Bill O'Brien. He's in a perfect place right now in Alabama.
Let me tell you something. I don't think Bill O'Brien was the problem. I don't think he was that. Knowing what I know now about what's going on in Houston right now, I don't think he was the problem.
So who was?
I think the racist owner above him was. I don't think if you look at the Houston football team right now and you see what they're doing with Deshaun Watson, I don't think it was a Bill O'Brien problem. I'm not saying 100% yet. But I think it's going to get to a point where we can probably get this man off the hook for being a terrible GM. He probably was a bad GM, but I don't think this was 100% on him, knowing what I see now that Deshaun Watson wants to get up out of there.
I watched that Hard Knocks.
Right, exactly.
I watched that Hard Knocks. Bill O'Brien's a piece of shit. I think he was the problem. I'll never get him off the hook for that. Fuck him, a frumpy piece of shit. Anyway, I don't disagree. But I think there's more to the story that we don't know yet. I think there's serious.
The whole organization is racist as shit. That's probably what the real story is.
And then for Andre Johnson to come out to say something about it. That's what really made me sit back and think, like, wait a minute. Yeah, Bill O'Brien was probably a part of the problem, but the bigger overall problem is that organization. You got to understand. I ain't gonna get too far into this, but even with the whole situation with Nealon or whatever, the Texans owner was adamant about it at first. I mean, he did not want to have no problems with. He did not want to touch that at all. He felt like everybody should stand and all this other stuff. So it was already I think it's an organ, like you said, DJ. I think it's more of an organization. I don't think everything falls on Bill O'Brien. I just say that.
Well, back to Urban Meyer. He's gonna have to really remember that these guys are pros. You're gonna have to.
What's his name? What's his name had to learn? Steve Spurrier had to learn when he was in Washington.
Yeah. You're gonna have to coach them like pros, okay? And you're gonna have to treat them like professional athletes. And the other thing that makes this even more dangerous for him is the fact that he's walking into a team that has the first overall pick. The very first year, he's walking into that draft. So his footprint is going to be immediately seen out in the open. The very first pick. You're literally drafting the next 5 years of this franchise can be either huge upside or down the fucking drain.
What I'm about to say, speaking on another sport with another coach that has a lot of success, there's a reason why John Calipari would not leave Kentucky.
Oh, of course.
I'll just leave it at. It's a reason why he would not go to the NBA for this reason right here alone. He goes to the NBA. He goes to the NBA with this attitude. I mean, you're looking at a 13-69 team or something.
See what happened with John Beilein on the Cavaliers?
Right.
I mean, in the NBA, honestly, is worse than NFL when you really think about it.
Yeah, it's worse. I was like, don't get me wrong. These guys probably can coach basketball itself, but it's a different animal when you're coaching college kids and professional players. Totally different.
And Jimmy Johnson, and this is, I hate to get on Belichick because he's really not relevant to this conversation, but he is for what I'm about to bring up. Jimmy Johnson understood that you cannot treat all players the same. You can treat all players fairly, but you're not going to treat all players the same. You're going to treat a Michael Irvin, a Emmitt Smith, and Troy Aikman the same way you're going to treat, some fucking third stringer. You're just not. That's just how it is. He said it. He said Emmitt Smith falls asleep in a film session, and I tell him, wake up, Emmitt, the fuck you doing? Third stringer falls asleep in a film session, I'm cutting his ass.
Right.
Yep.
But Bill Belichick doesn't get that either. Everybody's the same. I'm running like a military. No, you're a dipshit. That's why I didn't call you quarterback in the offseason, and y'all went 7-9 this year because you fucking suck as a coach. But anyway,
they went 7-9. I thought they did worse.
I think they went 7-9.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Yeah, it was 7-9, I believe.
So yeah, I mean, it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens to Urban Meyer. I would assume they'll take Trevor Lawrence. I don't know why they wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't be surprised if they take Justin Fields. Because of Ohio State.
I think that would be.
I don't think it'd be a good move. I don't think it'd be a good move, but I would not be surprised.
That'd be a colossal mistake, bro.
I'm with you. But I just would not be, just because of the Ohio State connection. I would not be surprised. I think they should take Trevor Lawrence.
Who's number 2?
The Jets are number 2. They're not taking the quarterback.
Man, that'd be crazy. Oh,
who I think they should take. I think they need to take that receiver out of Alabama. I think they need to take him number 2.
Coach.
Damn that! You need to take that receiver out of Alabama. You need to give Sam Darnold some help. That receiver will help him big time. But we'll talk about the draft.
But the thing is, though, the reason why I say that is it's got to suck to draft without a coach, because I mean, if you don't have a coach, then you're gonna have a situation like Jay Gruden RG3. You're gonna have a situation like Hugh Jackson and Baker Mayfield. You're gonna have a situation like, the guy comes in and Bieniemy, let's say they get Bieniemy. I mean, he's going to want to get the quarterback that he really wants in that position. He's not going to want to deal with a quarterback that they drafted that he might not necessarily think fits into.
I will say this. If Bieniemy, what you said about Bieniemy again? Because if Bieniemy ends up a coach, I say if they go to the Jets, I'll say it like this. If Bieniemy becomes a coach of a team and he wants and they need a quarterback, Bieniemy's going to take Justin Fields.
State of franchise. I don't agree that it's unnecessary to take a quarterback. I completely disagree with that.
Because the reason why I say that, because Justin Fields can move around and he can throw. He'd do exactly what Pat Mahomes can do. I don't think he'd be the caliber of Pat Mahomes, but he has the tools to do what Pat Mahomes can do. So I think that Bieniemy will take Justin Fields.
That's the difference between the two. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is a little. He's not as athletic as Justin Fields. He's a far better thrower of the ball. Fields is a pretty good thrower of the ball, but Trevor Lawrence is like once in generation talent.
I'll put it like this: Trevor Lawrence is more of. I'm trying to think quarterback in the league right now that would be more of, because Trevor Lawrence can move. He can run a little bit, so he's a little mobile, but he has a better arm than Justin Fields.
Trevor Lawrence is like Aaron Rodgers. Him and Burrow are the same. They're like Aaron Rodgers. They got out of pocket.
I won't say Aaron Rodgers yet, but he's a lot like Joe Burrow. I'll take that comparison.
Well, Burrow's like Aaron Rodgers. I mean, in the way they play. That's the way they play.
I was thinking more like a quarterback from the past, like a Jake Plummer.
Oh hell!
Damn, that's a real good comparison.
No, what?
I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious. He's right. Don't let hold on. Wait a minute. Stop right there. Don't let it fool you now. Jake Plummer was just a good quarterback on some bad teams.
That motherfucker's garbage.
No, as far as his skill set, seriously, as far as his skill set, I think DJ is on point with that. Jake Plummer skill set is very reminiscent of what these No, I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I'm saying I think it's more of a 1-to-1 with Jake Plummer, because Jake Plummer has the prototype. They have almost like the same type of body build, and they kind of look similar. But Jake. The problem with Jake Plummer was just on some bad. He never was able to grow because he was on bad teams.
Cardinals for all those for most.
Yeah, he was not. He was not a bad quarterback. He just was a product of just never getting real help.
He didn't play
Jake
too
Plummer
long.
Was a head case.
No, he wasn't.
No, he wasn't. Do you see him on the Broncos? Jake Plummer was a head case.
Oh, come on, man. Why you do that man like that?
Because I saw him play and he's a goddamn head case. He's a head case on the field. That's all I know.
No.
Jake Plummer was a
man. I'll tell you one thing.
He's an escape artist, if anything.
And
wait a minute. Where can I get this ad off of here? Because I love SoundCloud, but I don't love it this much.
Jake Plummer was an interception artist. That's what he was.
161 and 161. But I'm saying, we're not talking about stats here. We're talking about characteristics and traits.
Yeah, that's all I'm talking. That's all I'm talking about.
All I'm worried about. I don't care how many. He could have thrown like 500 interceptions.
I'm talking about how he played.
I'm
talking about how he played. He was a goddamn head case. Y'all disagree? He wasn't.
No, yeah, we definitely disagree.
All seriousness, Plummer was not that bad.
The basket case.
It's whatever. No,
he's a basket case.
I'm with you, DJ. His skill set is very reminiscent of what Trevor Lawrence is, because he's not fast, but he's mobile. They both have pretty good arms. Trevor Lawrence is probably a bit more. I mean, he's probably way more accurate than him, but their skill set is very, very similar.
And they both rocked weak ass mustaches. So it's just one of those.
Are we looking at Jake Plummer's stat line?
Yeah, look at him.
Looking at Jameis Winston's stat line.
Yeah, I know. It's almost the same, right?
Exactly. And he's a head case. So,
but the thing is, and we all know why they get on Jameis Winston, but they didn't get on Jake Plummer for having the same amount of stats. We all know why that was the case.
Yeah, because he was Gardner Minshew before Gardner Minshew. He's a doofus that people liked.
Yeah, but again, we're talking about how.
Jameis Winston kind of dug his own grave. Dude was a problem in college, and he couldn't see. So with Jameis Winston, his problems was more like he was just a problem.
Winston could throw better He threw more touchdown passes when he was blind than Kirk Cousins did that 1 year. I'm like, Kirk Cousins finally eclipsed 34 touchdown passes. What do you do? Which game they playing next?
State of franchise sports. We're not going to do that. He had a 1,000-yard rusher. He had a genius as a head coach as far as setting up the run game. He had Rod Smith, who was an all-pro, and he had Ashley Lee, who was an all-pro that year too. Don't talk about that. Don't talk about how he had better weapons in Tampa Bay. No, he didn't. We're not doing that today. We're not doing that. Don't make it cute for that, man.
No.
Rick Gannon.
No. Let's talk about the NFC. No, we're not gonna do that. Let's talk about the NFC, man. No, complimentary sports. No, man. No disrespect to Rich Gannon, because Rich Gannon was pretty good, but no, Trevor Lawrence has the best skill set.
You got sat on by Fat Boy Tony Siragusa.
You could measure Rich Gannon's shuttle run with a sundial.
Yeah, no. Rich Gannon was all right, but Trevor Lawrence his skill set is way better. The LA Wave versus Green Bay. What we got going on here?
The LA New Wave.
I'm taking the Packers.
Yeah, I'm taking the Packers as well.
I think the Packers defense has improved to the point where I'm not sure the Rams run the ball this week as good as they did last week.
I don't know. I'm actually gonna. I may go with the New Wave on this one.
Are we making a official bets tonight?
I feel like.
I mean, we might not. We might always keep going. We done started.
Well, I didn't take him down, so I don't really know. I thought we were just like discussing.
I mean, it's not many teams to pick from. Yeah. We kind of know who we picking, so. We kind of know. But I'm taking
a New Wave on this one.
I think the Packers gonna beat them. I think it's gonna. They have the potential to be close, but I think the Packers probably run away with this after the third quarter.
Turn it into a blowout, I think.
Yeah, I think it'll be close for a second. Then Aaron Rodgers catch fire, and then it end up being like a 35-17 type game, and it'll be like 17-17 to like the middle of the third quarter, and then it's a wrap. Yeah, I can see 35-17, 38-17, 38-14. it'll be close for a minute, and then the Packers figure it out.
Only thing that's going to be interesting, if they can't establish that run against the Rams front, they might have an issue.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, that could be a problem. Playing? I didn't think about that. You're right. That could be a problem.
Is Donald going to be playing? Because he's got broken ribs.
I would think he will
and
be.
That is pretty much that, and Ramsey playing in the cold is going to be a factor.
Let me look. Let me see.
Ramsey does not like playing.
Donald's good to go, it says.
Yeah, that was saying. He says he's playing
until he gets hit in the ribs.
Well, he's on defense. I mean,
no, you did that. Lineman gonna be like, they're gonna jab right up. Where is it? Wait,
no, I get what you're saying. I think the main thing is if he goes for a tackle on a running back and the running back hits him with the shoulder pad or something. I think that was. I don't think a lineman. I mean, it's possible that they will, but I don't think they will.
We'll see it.
I think their strategy, X's and O's wise, is going to affect him way more than somebody taking a cheap shot at him.
It's not even a cheap shot. It's part of the whole blocking process. I just see it as a hard jab while the guy's blocking.
I think it's more. I think it's going to be more their strategy. I don't think.
I'm like the good sign. The good sign was when he initially got hurt that his teammate tested him out. He didn't flinch, so he
because the man has made it. He made it that shit that they use for Jack. Because he's made it that shit that they use for Jack's arms. It's like the dude's like,
he'll be
fucking Iron Man, bro.
He's fine. I'm not worried about him.
No, I think he'd be fine, but I think the Packers going to pull away and win this one. I think they'll pull away after the second half. I'll be highly surprised if they go in Lambeau and beat them. I mean, I think the last team that did that was like the Giants or something. Mm-hmm. Giants went into Lambeau and beat Green Bay in the playoffs.
The fucking refs couldn't agree with a goddamn catch.
You know what? And it's funny because I've been saying this. Not been a catch, but now that I think about it, it's just like he still came down with it even when it popped up. So
today, since they changed the rules now, I think with the new rules that they changed 2 years ago or a year ago, it would have been a catch today because they realized that catch, not a catch, was starting to get really stupid.
But you know what? It's like even thinking like yes, I'm thinking about it in hindsight, and I've been back and forth with it, but even thinking within the time, I'm like, I thought it wasn't a catch because I definitely did not like. Everyone knows I don't like Dallas. You know, they can kiss my ass, go to hell. And
you're the football team fan.
But yeah, the team that swept their ass.
And
but I look at it like this. That one, like thinking about it with those rules back then, that should have been a catch only because he secured it when it came back down. Like it popped up, and it's just like he came down with it and he wasn't out of bounds. So
this is my thing. He caught the ball. He took 3 steps and hit the ground. I don't know what else to say after that.
More importantly, they talk about a football move. How is diving for the fucking goal line not a football move? Because that's what.
And not only that, they say the ground can't cause a fumble, so the ground should not be able to cause an incomplete pass.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, obviously, like if his hand and his arm hit the ground at the same time and he didn't take those steps, I get it. I get it if he just fell and it fell. I mean, he fell to the ground and it just hit the ground and the ball came. But he clearly had the ball, took 3 steps, then tried to dive. So
that was the best playoff game Tony Romo ever played in his career.
And,
man, let me tell you something. Yeah.
And again, the fact that even though the ball popped out, he still came down with it in the end zone.
Yeah.
After all that, so it's just like he literally did complete the play.
Yep.
So let's talk about these Tampa Bay Pirates against the New England Catholics.
Tampa Bay Pirates.
You mean New Orleans Catholics?
You mean
that's what I meant to say. Did I say that wrong?
The Tampa team that likes to hold on every play and not have the refs call for it.
We're not
because they like to say Chase Young disappeared, but when you get held,
here we go.
Somebody get grabbed by the face mask and getting held and not able to touch Brady. Yeah, it definitely played a factor in that game.
Here we go.
The geriatric bowl right here between Tampa and New Orleans. I'm taking
I'm literally taking the Bucks. I think the Saints gonna find a way to screw themselves over again.
Well, if Tampa's able to hold like they were doing last week, I think Tampa's going to win this one.
Preliminary Sports said the same thing to Tampa holds on every play. Hey man, where Chris Thomas at, man? Chris Thomas got to defend his team.
Like how many hooks were shown? I'm like, you got a back judge for a reason. What is he looking at Tom Brady's ass while this is going on? I'm like,
hey man, what's up with these innuendos, man? What are we doing here?
I'm just saying, what else were they looking at? They weren't looking at porn.
What's up with all this sexual innuendo, bro? You talking about asses?
Because they in love with Tom Brady and them referees. They followed him from New England.
Bills, what is going on? Bills, what is going on?
Hold up. The only hold that they called in that game was against us, and it wasn't even a hold. So what's really going on?
What we got going on here, Bills?
DJ, you done with your sour grapes about last week, or you want to continue your sour grapes?
I was going to pick Tampa to win the game, but I was just saying.
Fuck New Orleans. He said the game is rigged. Okay. All right. So if the game was rigged last week, then the game where they only scored 3 points against New Orleans should have been rigged. Exactly. So
no, that's a reach.
What are you talking about?
Hey, if you want to say that the whole was ridiculous,
you can't go with your agenda that the game was rigged. Then, but when Tom Brady throws a pick across his fucking body in the coverage, which he never would do, that game's not rigged. It's ridiculous.
I'm just saying, when someone's getting hooked and it doesn't get called for one team, somebody gets grabbed by the face mask, that something was going on.
All right. Thank you, OG. Thank you. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. Greatest of all time. Anyway. I'm taking the Bucks. Why? Because I never picked the Saints. Because fuck them. State of franchise sports. I'm sorry, but sports are rigged. You can say that if you want to, but it's true. Just not to the extent that they're making it out to be, or for the teams that they claim they are. Get the Saints the fuck out of here, and that's it. I have no. I'm not even going to give any analytical breakdown. You know who I'm cheering for. You know who I'm pulling for. You know who I hope is going to win. Fuck the Saints, and fuck their fans, and fuck their history. Fuck their bitch ass bigoted quarterback.
And the way that you talking, you make it sound like you're a Falcons fan, bro. Because we don't like the Saints at all.
This is the same talk that I have against Cowboys fans.
Exactly.
So I'm with them on this one. Like I said, what Tampa's gonna do is they're gonna hold the lead and win this game.
Shout out to J Miles, man. Wherever he is, man. You're right, man. He's like. Him and Chops are like the only two Saints fans that I like, man. Shout out to those guys, but
that's it. The rest.
I'm taking the Buccaneers on this one as well. I don't think the Saints did beat them 2 times already.
I'm thinking both. But aren't you a Jets fan?
Oh, that's an L already.
Why do you care what happened after week 2?
Well, week 1.
No, I think like I said, the Saints beat them twice already. I don't think they'll beat them 3 times in a row. I think I'm taking the Buccaneers on this. I think the Buccaneers.
Here's the other thing. AB didn't play that second game, right? Against the Saints.
I don't think so. So
he didn't play in the first game either, didn't he?
Well, obviously, he didn't play in the first game because that was week 1. So I mean, it's gonna be interesting. I don't trust Todd Bowles and I don't trust Bruce Arians. I'm hoping the Bucs pull this out. I have no faith.
When an offensive lineman is holding a top pass rusher.
We're not gonna make these
we're
not gonna do this.
When the opposing quarterback who was on the street like 3 weeks ago has a higher PFF rating than your GOAT.
DJ,
well.
DJ,
he wouldn't have had those stats if
holding is ignored every.
No.
John Madden said this. I think it was on Madden 04. John Madden himself said holding happens pretty much on every play. It's up to the refs to see it.
The guy got ripped by his face mask right for the
Wait, why are you fussing with us? I'm just telling you what John Madden said.
I'm telling you what I saw live. And these
DJ was the same guy on his episode of What the Fuck Just Happened and say, I'm good with the laws and we overachieved this year. Now here he goes, Here he goes, airing out grievances. Nobody got robbed.
I can air my grievances and say we overachieved this shit.
Take your six-pack ass.
I will say this. I will say this though.
Your front running quarterback.
I will say this though.
What's his fan? Since you like to travel with one person instead of.
I will say this though.
Go ahead.
I will say this.
I
will say this though. The player of the playoffs right now, regardless what happens, as of right now, the player of the playoffs is what's that quarterback named Taylor Heineken? Heineke. I like that kid. That kid played his ass off. I'll give him credit. He played like what you would like to see every sports player play like. You want them to leave it out on the field, play with some heart, play with some passion, and give it 110%. What I saw him do, it was really refreshing to see because you got your superstars that's automatic. They're going to put up numbers. They're going to do this and that. You can literally tell this kid was actually playing the sport, and that was refreshing to see because, like I said, you don't see too much of that. You may see it every now and then in college, but you don't see too much of that type of passion in playing in professional sports anymore. I mean, that's over any of the three major sports. You don't see that, and that was good to see.
And the sad part about the after effect of that game, his performance, even though we lost that game because players are being held and calls weren't being made.
Here we go.
But the fact that for a kid to perform so well, and then all of a sudden here come the weirdos out of nowhere. Oh, he's a Trump supporter. Blah 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 blah. I'm like, come on, really?
You know what?
He's a Trump supporter. I definitely don't actually anymore.
No. He's not a Trump supporter. See,
I will say this: even if
but he's not a Trump supporter.
This is my thing. This is my thing. Even if he plays like that. Honestly, I wouldn't give a damn as long as he plays like that.
OG. Exactly.
He got 400 yards in the air because people were holding. So he wasn't even touched because they were hooking.
Hey, DJ, I have a question.
Like outright hooks on short passes.
DJ, I have a question.
What's that?
Was every lineman getting held on every play? Or was it one lineman per play?
It was obvious holding.
You didn't answer the question.
I'm answering your question.
Go ahead.
Because there was obvious holding that should have been called on at least 60% of those plays.
On every lineman, on every play, at the same time.
The left tackle, on the right guard.
Okay.
See, you're trying to say that it was a whole lineman. I'm saying on specific players.
Okay,
especially
you have
people
three
that
other guys
lined
on the
up
line.
on Chase Young
You have three other
and
guys
Deron Payne. Because you saw what happened when they didn't hold. Deron Payne got through and Brady had the
Complimentary. Here's my thing, bro. And DJ will tell you this. All seriousness. If you're gonna talk about rigging, nobody has to point it out to me. I'm the last person. I'm the last person.
With Brady a lot. Just saying, they protect him. The rest protect
him. Yeah, like
him.
they do Aaron Rodgers.
No, they don't protect Aaron Rodgers like they do Brady. Come on. I'm around a bunch of Baltimore Ravens fans that had to deal with this when Tom was playing in New England.
But that's not rigging.
Protection that he got.
But that's not rigging. That's just favoritism.
New England was involved in the second egregious form of cheating in sports next to the Houston Astros.
Yeah, but what does that have to do? What does that have to do with rigging, though? That's cheating.
Look what OG put.
I mean,
if his offensive lineman held people, he would have still been playing too.
It's such a weak excuse to talk about.
And then Complimentary even stepped in and said, okay, so if Tampa Bay's offensive linemen don't hold, if they even touched Brady, it would have been a rough in the passer call.
Oh yeah, now we're gonna do the fucking
2 levels of
now we're gonna do
here.
the hypothetical. Well, if he would have touched him, oh stop, bro. Take your L. It's all right. Come back next season, better, faster, and stronger, and we'll see what y'all do.
All I know.
Okay, quick. All right. With that being said, I do have a question though. DJ, what are y'all gonna do with this quarterback situation? Are y'all gonna give the Heineke?
It's going to be an open competition. Ron Rivera already admitted that he made a mistake earlier in the year and not making it an open.
I think that's fair. I don't think you make him a starter off of this game. I don't think so either. That's fair. That's fair.
I think if anything, he elevates himself to at least a backup.
Yeah, I give that. Now I definitely would say that. I think he does deserve the right to at least be a backup somewhere. Now I'm not just saying with Washington, but somewhere somebody should give this kid a look and say, hey, if things go wrong with your starter, I think this kid will give you a chance to win a game. I don't know how many, but at least a game. Because if he plays like that, I think you're going to be in pretty good hands if your quarterback goes down.
State of franchise sports. I gotta address this comment because we don't talk about rigging that much on here because
talking about the Tom Donahue.
Yeah.
That guy.
So
he told you wasn't good at it.
so here's the thing, right? Here's why you know Tim Donaghy was great at rigging the game. Did you know who Tim Donaghy was before he came out and said that he rigged the games? If your answer is no, that means he was great at rigging the games because you couldn't see through them, and that is the art of rigging. That's why when I point it out, nobody believes me, and then guess what happens? It comes out that they were rigging games and that they investigated them, all the games that I talked about. So that's what I'm saying. Tim Donaghy was great at rigging games because you didn't know who he was until he came out and said, yes, I rigged the games. He told you how he did it. He told you how the refs did it. So that's my thing. It's like when you see this holding not being called, that's not rigging. That's just bad officiating.
And that's what I'm harping on. I don't believe it was rigged that game.
The rigging.
I think it was just bad officiating.
Yeah, the rigging.
Horrible officiating.
The rigging. He said the 01 Western Conference Finals. No, it wasn't. They got swept.
Wasn't that is that the one? Is that the one Billy was bleeding?
Oh yes, we got to fight.
He must be the 02.
Dylan, knock his ass out.
Finals.
I will say this. That's the one when Bibby was bleeding, right? When they didn't call a foul or something.
The 02
oh yeah, you knocked him out.
Yeah. I'm not going to say it was rigged, but something was going on in that final. I mean, there was something going on in that series. Something was going on because that Kings team was built to beat that Lakers team, and they did everything right, and they came on. Something wasn't right in 02. Something was not right. I will say that.
90% of sports fans wouldn't know rigging if it happened right in front of their face, and a lot of times it does, but they don't want to believe it because either their favorite team is winning, or they just don't want to believe it because they're such a sports fan. Rigging happens a lot more than you would think, and it's obvious when it happens to people who know what rigging is. And the other thing is there's a difference between rigging and fixed. That's another thing people got to stop saying this was fixed versus this is rigged. Rigged is two different things. Rigged and fixed is two different things. But we're not going to get into this rabbit hole.
I'm not because I got another topic I wanted to get into before we go. Basically. I know a lot of people here, we talk about sports. We also talk about gaming as well. And I want to know, like, people in the comment section, asking, honestly, like, a lot of people look at this as a hobby or whatever the case may be. And, it's a great hobby to have. But really, do y'all think gaming is important? And if so, how important? And I'm not going to get back into the spill I did earlier today, but like I said, I took myself offline for about, 72 hours. I'm probably going to continue to, like, stay away for a while because, with a lot of stuff going on social media. But I will say that with gaming, it helped a lot throughout the times when I got off work and I didn't want to do anything. And I think about all the other times when I was in college or when I was in high school and, things just wasn't going right with, things I was dealing with. Gaming could be a really good escape outside of, the norm. And for me, it's, I think it's very important. It's one of the reasons why I collect games. You're not only just playing the games. Like sometimes I like to take a game off the shelf, and I may be weird when I say this. I like looking at the instruction manuals. I just read the stuff on it, or sometimes I look at a certain game and I just go on the internet and look at more information about the game. And on YouTube, they have like a lot of retrospectives about certain games, how they were made, and what developer did this, who left. Like I recently looked at the Killer Instinct retrospective, and there's a lot of stuff I did not know about that game. And I'm a big fighting game fan, but there's a lot of stuff I didn't know what they implemented, what they took out, and all this other stuff. And some things when I was looking at Mario retrospectives, the things that they wanted to do with Mario back in the day, but they never put in. But outside of that, just playing the games, and I think this goes back to kind of link to what we were talking about when we were talking about what's a gaming community. I think a lot of people play these games with ill intentions, and I'm not saying that is a bad thing, because a lot of people, they want something out of the games that they play. But I find the games very important because it's not only therapeutic. You can find your only way. You can find a way to create your own world, and there's ways that you can actually, be creative and learn new ideas from what you do. Hand-eye coordination, you can improve that. In some cases, you can improve your visuals if you're not frying your brain too close to the screen, but you can see things clearly based on your eye muscles moving or whatever. So I think it's very important to, I think gaming is very important just for people who want to expand their mind and their thought process and certain things. I think gaming gets a bad rap because they think that gaming just fries your brain and you're wasting your life away. But if you're gaming properly, I think it helps a big deal. Bills, what do you think? Oh, hold on. Before you even say that, Jared says something that's very important that I didn't even touch, and this is very real. He said, gaming keeps me out of trouble and is a getaway from the hustle of life. Keeping you out of trouble is very, very, very important, because me growing up in the neighborhood I grew up in without gaming, I could have been in serious trouble. But, that's another story for another day. So I'm going to let you go ahead, Bills.
I mean, let's be honest. Without gaming, we wouldn't be here right now. We wouldn't be
That's
here
true.
doing this podcast right now without gaming. We came together because of video games. Gaming is very important. I mean, gaming brings people together. Gaming is a stress reliever. Gaming is, in this day and age, a financial source of income. Gaming is a way to up your hand-eye coordination. Gaming makes you think. It increases your mental fortitude to get through challenges, even on something as simple as a game that may be challenging you. Gaming allows a lot of kids to live out their dreams of being athletes by playing it, on a TV screen.
Yes, yeah, it does.
There's a lot of things, that gaming does that, gives people an outlet from, the outside world. And I think that's great. I mean, we could go on a tangent about how many things, gaming provides to folks.
Yeah, I was about to say, because this topic could be in a complete episode by itself, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, gaming does so much. Like I said, it's to some people everything. At one point, gaming was what music is to me now, which was, something that I love to do, but something that I can do even if I'm not really in the mood to do it. Music is that thing now. Gaming was that thing when I was a kid. It's just something that I automatically went to, almost like on a clock, like it was on an alarm. That's just how it was. Just like Doug Thomas said, gaming got me out of depression. It's like I said, it helps people cope with a lot of things and kind of, suspends their worries and whatever, things they're going through in life. Gaming is their getaway. Much like marijuana is to some people, much like, unfortunately alcohol is to some people. That's really what it is. I mean, yeah, gaming is everything to some people.
What are your thoughts, DJ?
Well, there's a lot that you both have said combined. Let me see. I'll take a first-hand approach on this one. Well, obviously because we all game, but for me, it really was about playing with a new toy. I'm like, you're talking about early '80s. I'm just running around the house. I have the He-Man toys and stuff like that. I have the little tent that I used to play with, but it's like the first electronic digital thing that I get my hands on, and all of a sudden I'm playing games like Pole Position. I'm playing like so I'm getting into racing. It's like it's an attention getter when I'm a baby, but it led to playing platformers like Super Mario Brothers on the original Nintendo, and then just being challenged to beat games. So for a while for Nintendo, it was more or less, can I complete this game? So it advanced to Life Force and Contra and Dino Wars and
wow, you said Life Force. My God, I don't think nobody in here know about Life Force. I mean that's a Gradius, yeah.
And it was like, okay, it became a competition for me. It was like, how many games can I beat? Like, these gamers now, they talk about, well, how many games did you beat this? I think playing Nintendo, I literally beat almost 100 games in 1 year. So I know the games the way they are now, people are like, oh, I beat like 20 something games. I'm like, no, in 1 year, I beat 100 games. Because I had all that time as a kid. But it was just like, and then the games became like, then you start seeing the sports games. Like I didn't really play a lot of football games early on. It was more or less, okay, when I got to like Nintendo, the late stages of Nintendo, playing NFL football, playing Madden, eventually playing Madden by the 90s. And then playing all the games that I was already playing the sports of. So it was kind of like a skill builder. Like Bills and VF have already mentioned, hand-eye coordination. I remember my father used to get mad because I'd be playing games all the time. He was like, "You playing games too much." I told him, to this day, he reminds me. It was like, yeah, whenever I would tell you get up off the game, you would just respond with, "Well, it helps my hand-eye coordination," and it did exactly that. I'm like, it helped me be a better infielder playing baseball. Probably one of the biggest sports that you have to use hand-eye coordination with, especially defensively as a shortstop. That thing's coming out at you 100 miles per hour. You gotta be quick. You gotta be reactionary. You can't blink. So it definitely helped me there. And then it also helped me strategically. It developed my sports IQ, my the ability to recognize defenses as the games became more advanced. So you started to see, the type of defenses that you run into, the type of situations that, you look at what Michael Jordan would talk about. I was always thinking 6 steps ahead in how I would score. Well, in a video game, you can, fast forward to today's games, you can actually do that now. You have to think 6 steps ahead. You have to visualize how, the game winner that I posted today on Twitter. That's exactly what I was thinking. When I got the ball with Bradley Beal, my whole thought process was, okay, Westbrook is already being denied the ball, can't go to him. I got the ball with Beal's hands. I've been guarded by Paul George the whole entire night. It's been tough, but if I can get a step on him, I can make this play. So just advanced strategy, thinking, and visualization being used here. And once I got the step on him, I was able to complete the game-winning shot. Another thing, being a part of a community, and obviously that's later on in gaming because there wasn't really a gaming community when we started out. So I know I'm like rattling off a whole lot, but this gaming community really is the last part of it, because being the fact that now we have the internet, we have social media, we have different platforms developing since like 2006 and stuff like that. Now you have people that become lifelong friends through gaming. they start off as online rivals, cursing each other out, calling each other whatever, MF this, you can't shoot shit, blah, 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 I'm going to kill you. Like most stuff that, people, if they are the third person in the room, would be like, didn't he just threaten your life? No, it's a video game. People threaten each other's lives every day, B. But then you become lifelong friends, or eventually you become lifelong friends, and then you eventually start doing podcasts with two of the people you game with the most. So I mean, you would hope that that life in general winds up like a situation with gaming. You being able to, have all these things just intertwined with how your life winds up going, whether it's to your job, whether it's, at home with the family and stuff like that. It's like a centerpiece to like bring everybody together.
Chris Thomas said you can make money by gaming. Also, they consider gaming a sport and try to make esports an Olympic event. And certain colleges are starting to recruit games for college esport. Yeah, Georgia Southern's doing that. Georgia Southern has a esport where they do Call of Duty, and I think they have another game they do as well. So he's exactly right. Complimentary Sports said, and this is beautiful, I love this. He said, I remember a guy in a wheelchair that played NFL 2K5, created a quarterback and said that was me. I created him. I'm the QB. He was very into it. See, this is another thing, and I think Dave Tenigo, I'm just skipping over real quick. Dave Tenigo said, it's important because you get to use your imagination to be able to go over to a friend's house and play with them. This is what I said about sports games in general. I said this, I think that the community, the sim gaming community, they're missing the aspect of that when it comes to playing games. When you use your imagination, you create this world where it's an alternate universe where things happen that could be as realistic as possible, but it's something that you created. It's something that it gives you something to look forward to because you don't know what storyline that you created where you could be in school, which I was when I used to play my franchise modes in NCAA 03, 04 or Madden 04. I used to have this thing in school like what I'm going to do with this quarterback or this running back that's suspended on my team. When I get home from school, what I'm going to do to play that against the next team. I used to have those things, but it was a different storyline that you created within the game. And this is what I was talking about earlier, DJ. Like, a lot of people don't tap into those My Leagues or those franchise mode where those mechanics are there, but nobody touches them because a lot of us, we've been guilty of this. We are to an extent fixated on the actual gameplay mechanics, but we don't see those type of things. We don't go beyond to see those type of things in a My League or in a franchise mode or in a dynasty mode. And I think it's one thing that's like really, missing. We don't talk about that as much. And this is one reason why my Twitch channel is set up the way it is. Just like he said, go over to a friend's house and play them.
Right.
We don't have that. I mean, a lot of us don't have that, the time or the location to do that. So I try to make my Twitch channel where it's like, even though we're online against each other, but we're watching, you're watching me play a game, or if I'm playing online with someone else, like I was playing with you and Spectacular Pool on Battlefield 4 last week. We're playing the game as if we are in the same room or on the couch and we're playing together. I think that's the closest thing that we have to do that. And I think those things are the moments that we really miss. Everybody's competitive, and it's okay to be competitive. Everybody's like at each other's throats when it comes to this online gaming, but there's like an untapped, aspect of this gaming that nobody really do anymore, where the co-op or just being friendly competitive in a game, and I mean, I put an emphasis on friendly, where it can be really enjoyable to play. Let's see. Doug Thomas says, well, I think back in the 80s when we had arcades, it was sort of a gaming community. Yeah, it was, absolutely. If you grew up in the 80s or early 90s, I mean, you go to the arcades at your local mall, or if they're just a standalone arcade, that was the place to go on Fridays and Saturdays. I mean, you did, and it got to the point where I did not want to go on Sundays because I know it's going to spoil my Monday, so I didn't like to go. But I had a friend of mine who was he's an assistant manager of an arcade in the mall in Savannah. Mr. Ham, you would know, the Oglethorpe Mall. He was assistant manager at the Tilt. It was called the arcade was called Tilt, 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 and all the time he used to put free play on all the games I want to play. He just put them on free play, so I never had to pay to play on the arcades. I mean, it was a great time. I mean, anytime he worked, that's where I was when I didn't have to work. It was great. So that was awesome. Ms. Ham said, "Oh, go ahead."
I was about to say, I'm about to remember the name of my arcade. It was called Champions.
Mm-hmm.
So
he said gaming was one of the best ways to make friends and gain identity of people when we were younger. I still remember some cats from elementary school because they beat Mike Tyson Punch Out. Yeah, that was a big deal back then. If you knew how to beat Mike Tyson Punch Out, you was the man. It was you was almost like that guy who came to school with the Game Pro magazine.
Man, I watched my uncle beat Mike Tyson's Punch Out. That was crazy. Remember
Yeah.
where you can get like the whole family involved? I remember at one point it was like a family thing, and that was
Yes, it was.
Big on. So
Yes, it was, and you know,
bougie as she was playing Nintendo, playing track and field, and having fun with it. So.
Right, and speaking of my uncle was he's the Sega guy. He used to love Sega Genesis, and I remember he used to play NFL Sports Talk Football. I think it was Joe Montana '93. He used to love that game because I like the one that came out before then, and I think I talked about that. I did on the Sunday Retro Stream, but he used to like the one that the Sports Talk Football one. He used to love that one, and I remember he literally sat there one day because he didn't have to work because he was a professor at Savannah State. And he didn't have to work, so he literally sat there one day and just went through an entire season. And I think he went 15-1, and he won the Super Bowl. He thought he did the greatest thing in the world. And you know me, I was a little bit younger, so I just sat there and watched play every single game. But he felt like he accomplished something so huge, and you know it's pretty cool because you don't see too many people do that anymore. You know, that's one of the memories I have of him because he used to love his Sega Genesis, and I think he thought that was the greatest console in the world. But you know, that's one of the things. Mm-hmm. State of Franchise Sports said, "Me and my boys use the fantasy draft to create our own league and face one another in person. You know, stuff like that. Exactly." Complimentary Sports said, "Yeah, GSU is being innovative. We'll get back to that." He said, "We played GoldenEye and for hours in college. Literally, we are lifelong friends." Let me tell you, we didn't play Golden. We played GoldenEye. My cousin, my other cousin, he was a Sega kid as well, but he loved the Nintendo 64. He liked GoldenEye until Halo came out. So he's the GoldenEye. He's a Halo kid. He loves Halo now. But we played GoldenEye like every day, all day. And I still have that game. I should do a retro stream of that. But the game for me was it was two of them for the Sega Dreamcast. Marvel vs. Capcom 1 with 4 players. Yes, you could play with 4 players where you can you know, everybody pick a player, you can tag in and out. And NBA Showtime on NBC. All 4 players, and I remember because I had to do this and I hated this because my friends were cheap. I had to buy all 4 controllers for the Dreamcast, and all 4 of us got to play, and we played NBA Showtime. Played that like crazy. Yep, Tilt was in the old. That's what we call it now, the old mall. Oglethorpe Mall. Yep, he was the manager there. Complimentary Sport. Joe Montana '93 was awesome. It was a great game, and you know what? I don't have that game. I need to buy that game. I don't know why I don't have it, but he that was that and RBI Baseball 4, which I have that game. He loved those 2 games on the Genesis. I remember him playing that. I remember him beating the Contra Hardcore, which I can't beat that game. That game's hard as shit. But he loved the Sega Genesis, and I tried. Matter of fact, it was last year. We went down there for Thanksgiving, and not this past year, but the year before that. Not 2020 but 2019, and I asked him, can I have his Sega Genesis, because he didn't use it anymore. He's like, basically he said he gave it to his daughter, but he wants it back. I don't know if he ever got it back because he wanted to play some games on it, and I don't know if he ever got it back. I'm pretty sure he did. He probably got it back and played it a few more times before, you know, he really got sick or whatever. But he did not want to give up that Sega Genesis. He was kind of mad that he gave it to his daughter, because I think I got my cousin in trouble because I asked him about it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I need to get that back because she has it." But so I guess he got his Sega Genesis back. But no, man, like I said, gaming creates memories, and at the end of the day, that's all we have. I mean, you can have all these games, you can have all this stuff or whatever, but it's it's really at the end of the day, that's all we have is memories. You want to hold on to those memories as much, like you said, like the memories you have all 204 episodes. You can go back and look at all the funny stuff that we did and all the times we had together playing, and it's just an amazing thing for you guys to just stick with this the entire time. Bills, I don't think we even got to you. I do apologize. I mean, what is gaming to you? How is it important to you?
I think that was he.
No,
He was before me.
I was first. I mean,
Yeah.
That just goes to show you I ramble so much I forget.
Yeah, I just been listening to y'all. I mean, I remember like really the only time I played games with my dad was the first driver. And
God, I remember.
You'd start in the parking lot and they do the little drive around the columns and shit. I remember that. And what else? I remember my cousins and me getting stuck on this level in the Lion King game on Sega, and that shit was
a lot of people don't realize that those Disney games on the Genesis are phenomenal. They're really good.
And they're tough at the same time. I beat Lion King. I was just like,
yeah, I have Aladdin on the Genesis, and that game is tough. It's a great game, but it's tough.
I remember. Oh, good.
No, you good. Go ahead.
Now I was gonna say I also remember. I remember me and my cousin playing Madden 04 and creating a team and a stadium and everything, and picking from a pool of, all the free agents. So we're looking at all the 99 players, and we just got these stacked ass teams. We pick our stadium, design our stadium and shit, concession stands, prices and everything, and then play against each other. I mean,
man, I remember playing with the NFL Europe teams on Madden 03 or 04. Man, those teams are terrible. I mean, they're dope. Matter of fact, I need to do a stream of that, looking at the NFL Europe teams. I think that'd be really cool. But those teams, them teams were not that good. I remember, and they were legit teams with the real rosters too.
I remember.
Yeah.
Then, I mean, me and my cousins used to play NBA 2K3, and I remember the first time I ever touched sliders. I had no idea what they did.
Right.
One time we put all the shooting sliders up all the way, and I tell you, bro, the game was like 300 to like 284. Like, we was making every shot. It was so weird, but like we were just kids. We were just doing stupid shit. Like, that's what I remember. I mean, yeah, it's like you said, man. Gaming is memories, man. I mean, like when I think back to the childhood days, that's where all my fond memories of, games. That's where it comes from. That's where all the memories. Yeah. I mean, it's not that I can't look back 10 years from now and say, I remember playing NBA 2K21 Next Gen. I mean, I'm sure I'll have some memories, but all those memories really come from when I was younger. First experiences with certain games, and that's really the key to gaming, man. Is the memories, looking back and remembering, certain moments.
Yeah, because I look at I would say mid 90s to early 2000s as probably the best memories I've had from gaming, because you're talking about being introduced to Resident Evil, Siphon Filter, Unreal Tournament was a thing, playing people online for the first time with Dreamcast, and yeah,
I still remember the first time I ever played a wrestling game.
Oh, I
played WWF Warzone.
Damn, and I have memories of that game too. But
Austin walking away from the fucking fiery background and shit. And,
right.
Oh man.
Yo, the first wrestling game I played was the one on Super Nintendo. I think it was WWF Raw. Okay. I think I remember playing that one, and then I remember playing the arcade game, and then the N64 games was just amazing. Those are the games.
I got everybody beat on the wrestling game. Pro Wrestling on Nintendo.
Jesus.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I remember that. That was one of the old black box Nintendo games. I remember that.
And the funny thing is, it's still going on. You know what franchise it is?
It's Fire Pro, right?
Yes, exactly.
Right, I was saying it's Fire Pro.
Yeah.
Dave Ten Eagle said, "What about the Tarzan game? I never played that game. I know of it. I never played it. I never played it either.
I know WWE, WWF Warzone. I remember I reversed a move, and I'm trying to who I was using. Oh yeah, I was using Stone Cold Steve Austin. I reversed the move and into the cutter, into the Stone Cold Stunner.
Another crazy thing about the sports games back in the day, man. Like certain songs out here nowadays, and it'll make me think of that video game. I mean, like Madden 04. This soundtrack was legendary. Madden NCAA 06. Like you just think back, like you can feel the nostalgia feel when you listen to the songs. You can feel like you're right back there with the sticks in your hands. During winter break.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. NCAA 06 had a phenomenal soundtrack. Yeah, and not only that, I mean, EA Sports did a very good job back then with their sound. You can even go back to NBA Live. They had a really good soundtrack. 03 had a good soundtrack. I mean, they had like personalized songs for their games. Yeah. Like they'll have like Freeway the rapper will have his own personal song for the NBA Live series. Like I think Snoop Dogg and Chameleonaire, they all had their own personal songs. Just strict. It wasn't like how it is now. Like you would take like one of the hot songs off the radio and put it on the game. No, they would literally go in the studio and make a song for the game. It's like you don't see that anymore. It's pretty cool. I wish they would do that again.
Even though they weren't really considered soundtracks, but like. I playing the Double Dragon series. They had some nice bits that you were able to listen to as you played. I'm like, that's really where soundtracks,
started.
Their footing from is the bits while you were playing the stages. I know how.
Yeah, like what is it? What game that was? I mean, which level that was? Stage 3 in Double Dragon 1.
You mean the construction?
No, the construction one is good too. But I'm talking about the jungle, the one after that when you go in the jungle.
Oh yeah, that one was a good one. But Double Dragon 2 had a good one. It was before you got to the helicopter.
Well, all right, okay, I remember that.
Really good. And I'm trying to figure out the final boss in Double Dragon. Oh, boss music.
Boss music.
When you got to like the boss of the level, the music
Super C boss music is excellent. Super C. What's another one that was Stage 6 on Contra 1 is a good one.
Right.
I mean, I could go on and on when it comes to like chip tunes and stuff like that. It's like those stuff. That stuff is great.
Like I have them all downloaded on my phone.
Yeah, I think what's his name? Like State of Franchise Sports said he had the soundtracks on his iPod. You still use an iPod, but you know what I mean? Like yeah. But no, Mr. Ham, Madden 2000, Ludacris, he had his own song just strictly based on the game. It's like, it's not a song that you'll find on any of his albums. It was just like, they would like make songs for the game, and the only way you get that song, you either ripped it from the game itself, or sometimes these games come with a disc or something that like I think Live 03 came with the disc that they had all the songs that was just exclusive songs for that game. It's like that's like really cool. Like they don't do that anymore, and they need to do that again. That'd be great.
NBA Live had a bunch of intros and music that went along with it. That was like a mix between hip hop and jazz for a while. Like when Live was in that mode as far as music is concerned.
Live 03 is like that. Live 03 literally have a disc that has the soundtrack. I don't know.
I have that disc.
Let me see if I can look it up. I'm gonna look it up so I can put it on the screen. Yeah, because I think somebody else was talking about it. Let's see, Live 03 soundtrack. There it is right here. Let me see if I can see if they have the disc to it.
The only Live I never owned. Because I got 2K3 that year.
Right.
Terrible.
I'm trying to.
Wow, yo, bro, they got it in a.
Is that the one with Jason Kidd?
Yeah, but no, bro, you can buy this on vinyl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let me put this on the screen so y'all can see this.
I know there was another song for Madden. I think it was on Madden 04. It was called Go with Will.i.am.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good one. That was a good
All right,
soundtrack.
let me put this up and see. This is not the vinyl, but this is the disc. You can buy this disc right here, and all of these songs are. This is the Live 03 one. All these songs are exclusive to NBA Live 03. These songs by Fabulous, Snoop Dogg, Joe Budden, Just Blaze. These songs are not on like any albums or anything like that. These are like strictly exclusive to the album, to the disc. And that's what they. I don't know why they haven't done that anymore. I just don't know. Because especially with the way music is now, they can like literally like make a soundtrack for Madden 2022 or a soundtrack for NBA 2K instead of just finding the songs that are hot at the time. It just gives and it will give the game more of its own identity. And now, to be honest with you, you probably get more people to buy the game just because of that music in some cases. You know?
Yeah, because remember, see, and that kind of goes in. This is a sidebar. This is kind of when like Madden had the NFL Films music, and how they had the original music, and then they had the remix version of it.
Right.
And some of the remix versions were pretty tough.
Wasn't that in the? It wasn't like on the PS2 Maddens where they did a remix and somebody was rapping over it. And matter of fact, I think it's in Madden 08. I'm not really sure because they used the NFL Films orchestra music and somebody was rapping over it. I don't know if it's in Madden 08 or it's in one of those Maddens. I think I know. I don't know.
Those are pretty tough. Like the remix ones were pretty tough because they would speed it up a little bit.
Yeah, they would speed it exactly. I don't know. Anything else y'all got? Hey, we're past the 2-hour mark. If anything y'all want to cover real quick, we're good. But I don't have anything.
There's the COVID running rampant in the NBA that that's causing a bunch of cancellations. I know my Wizards are dealing with an outbreak in a way, so they've had to cancel a couple of games. And the NBA is actually thinking about. Well, right now they're trying to institute tougher protocols, and some of the players are actually complaining about some of the protocols that are being in place, and people are thinking that they should pause the season or cancel it altogether. So it's just crazy right now. Well, I know cancellation is not going to happen, but the fact that my thing is we knew they weren't going to be in a bubble, but a lot of the little things that they did in the bubble, they're not doing anymore when teams play each other. Because remember, for the bubble, it was a little bit where they weren't meeting each other before the game or after the game, exchanging jersey and stuff like that. It seemed like we watch an NBA game minus the crowd. Everything is like the normal players before they're like close. They're playing with it. They're like swapping jerseys. I don't think they're swapping jerseys, but it was like a lot of close contact stuff that would spread the shit. Was like those little things were being ignored now. So, but I think a lot of us could anticipate that something like this was going to happen once they went outside the bubble. Had to go back to the normal format. So
I think at the end of the day, it's like with this COVID thing, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know. It's like I think things get real serious if you actually had a player that actually gets seriously ill behind it. Because a lot of people get it, they have to quarantine, but you never seen that one player that actually was like sick. Like he was like lethargic. He had real bad flu symptoms, or he just couldn't stop coughing. None of this crazy stuff. You haven't seen any of that. So I don't think they'll really take it serious until something like that happens. Will it happen? I don't know. This whole COVID thing is like really... To me, it's really weird because you don't know what's going to happen if somebody gets it. And in some cases, had it, but you didn't see anything. Des Bryant had it one day, and then the next day he didn't. It's like really weird. Like I don't know what to make of it, to be honest. And it's like I said it from the beginning, and I know you didn't agree with me too much. I just said just let them play, just say F it until somebody gets like seriously sick. To me, that's the way I feel. Now, I'm not saying that everybody just go out willy-nilly and just, don't be mindful of other people who can actually get sick, like seriously sick. But it's more like if you just keep protocol and you catch it, just let it run through the rest of the of the league and just and let them have antibodies. Because I mean, unless like, and if somebody gets like seriously ill, then you just take it from there. Because I have not seen like one athlete to get like super sick. At the end of the day, they had just quarantine and they came right back like nothing happened. I mean, I mean, maybe I'm in a minority, and that might sound crazy, but but I just haven't seen anybody to get like seriously ill or anything. So I don't know what to make of it, to be honest.
But the thing is, I think, and my major disagreement, I think back then when you originally said it, is still the same thing now. Are you just waiting for somebody to die from it before?
No, I'm not waiting for.
I'm like, because the logic is, oh, I haven't seen anybody really get sick that's currently playing. Yes, they're professional athletes. They have a medical staff. But still, are we waiting for one of them to die and really get really bad off? The whole league to catch it, and maybe 2 or 3 players die. It doesn't matter. I'm like, the higher risk factor group are the older adults with pre-existing conditions, but NBA players actually, there's a ton that we don't know about that have pre-existing conditions, asthma being the primary one that we don't really hear much about, but you don't want to wait until somebody has those issues exacerbate the COVID that they catch.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't disagree. I don't want you to think that I'm against what you're saying. I totally understand that, and I'm not saying just sit and wait until it happens. My thing is, I'm getting to the point, because this has been going on for almost a year now. I'm sitting here thinking about, I'm sitting here looking at it like, treat this like any other type of contagious sickness that you get. That's the way I look at it. Just treat it as such, because the more that we know now, it just seems like it plays a part just like that. A lot of people who go through this that are their age, it just seems like they're getting it. Some of them, they have it because they feel fine. Nobody's feeling like they're having like these heavy sweats or they can't breathe. Most of these athletes are just like, wait a minute, I'm positive, like I feel fine. Well, you don't want to affect other people, so you need to quarantine. And I totally understand that. But I'm looking at it from a standpoint of like, what are we really doing at this point? It's like, seem like if these guys aren't around people that are at risk, it's like, what are we doing?
But obviously they are.
And it's just like state of franchise sports. And to an extent, I agree. So as a healthcare worker, let's not do that at all. I agree. But the flip side is that young people can die from it, but it's not very likely. You can say that about any other. You can say that about any other contagious sickness that's out there. And I'm not. And now I'm not saying it just because it's okay. But if we're going to like have this scope to where, all these other things that can get people sick are under that type of umbrella, that people can die from this or people can die from that, but it's not likely. Why is COVID at this point? Why is COVID any different from those at this point? And I think that's an honest question that we need to start asking ourselves. Now, I'm not saying that I'm against it, but it's like I'm just using the logic based on, people getting the flu or people getting like hay fever or people getting just like having a common cold. If they're having the same type of logic behind that, these guys can get that and they can die from it, but it's not likely. COVID is pretty much is under that same umbrella. Why are we not having that discussion yet? I think it's one to at least have that discussion.
Some people, I don't know. It's like it's a discussion. It definitely is something that is, ingrained within society that allows stuff to linger longer than it has to. Let's just say that.
Right. And I get it. And I understand, because I think people are still looking at the unknown factor of COVID-19. And I get it, because we kind of still don't know exactly what it is. And people, when things are unknown, most people want to stay away from it. But I'm just looking at it based on what we've seen the past 12 to 14 months now, based on it coming from China, coming from Europe, coming here, and seeing who's passing away from it, solely because of this virus, not underlying conditions or anything like that, and the age group of the people that are passing away. I think at this point, it's warranted to have a discussion of like, okay, do we need to treat this as such as everything else, or is it something that we really need to continue to take heed on? Because I think we know enough now to be like, all right, is this big bad disease that we have, or is it just something that's been instilled in us to feel that this is the worst thing ever? I don't know it, because I had pneumonia and mixed with the flu back in 2013, and I felt like complete shit. And I don't know if that was worse than it's like the worst thing I ever had, and I don't want that again. But I was a younger person then. I was in my early 30s at that time. Now I'm looking at people who have getting COVID that's around my age, and they're just looking like me and you, and nothing's wrong with them. They're asymptomatic, and they're looking around like, shit, I can still play the sport, but because I have this, I have to sit at home. When really, when I was like sick, I couldn't even pick up a pencil, let alone play a sport. So that's why I'm like asking, like, okay, people who get pneumonia literally cannot play. They literally can't do anything. But if you're asymptomatic, like a lot of these guys that are playing the sports are, is it warranted to have a discussion like, all right, what are we really doing here? That's what I'm asking for. Because it seemed like at this point, like, shit, these kids aren't doing nothing. They're not like sick or nothing, and they're playing amongst their peers. Like, and I'm not saying to sit there and wait around till something happens. It's just that it's based on what I see. Like, look at the college sports. The whole season just went through, and how many college kids honestly got sick so they couldn't play, or they couldn't walk, or they have like serious conditions? Like, which ones? There probably have been, but I haven't seen any reported, so I have questions about it. I don't know. I mean, we had 33 players out of Georgia Southern in the beginning of the season, and I think, 17 or 16 of them was COVID related, and none of them was really sick, but they all recovered, and we ended up playing an entire season. You know, it's like, I don't know. I think there's a lot of discussion to have there, because something isn't adding up at this point. Bills, do you have anything about it? Because you had said nothing before we go.
I mean, I've just been listening, yo. I don't have much on it. I mean, from my perspective, it's pretty simple. I think they need to go behind the scenes and give everybody the vaccine. Sorry,
I'm not against that.
I
was just talking to my wife about that, and my aunt, she's the spouse of my uncle that just passed. She's taking care of my grandmother as well, and my grandmother's 90, and she's a professor as well. You know, my uncle's wife, my aunt, she's a professor. So they're like first in line to get the vaccine. You know, like, you know, older people and people that are in education, law enforcement. You know, they're the ones they're the first in line to get it. And she's been trying to get the vaccine as well for my grandmother. So I'm with you. Like, if it's working like they say it is, just give it to them.
I would say, look, I would. This is what I would say. I would call a meeting with all the NBA teams and tell it simple and plain like this: 8 of your 12 players on the active roster have to take the vaccine in order for your team to play. If 8 of your 12 players don't take the vaccine, your season's over. Period. End of story.
Yeah. Make it dire. Make it.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I'm for that, because I told my wife, I was like, look, if we ever end up positive with it, I'm like, F it, let's go. What we have to do to just take the vaccine, so we don't have to deal with it no more.
Because if that's the way I felt like. 4 players don't have it, the 8 players that are basically immune to it will be fine. It's really a 75% thing. 70%. You know, based on what I'm saying from all the healthcare providers I know, 75% of the people in a given group have to have the vaccine in order for it to really work. So there are people that could not have the vaccine and it still won't spread. So in the NBA, you probably need around 75% of the players that have taken it. I think they need to go ahead and behind the scenes just say, look, bro, y'all got to take this fucking vaccine. We're not doing this shit.
Yeah, because to tell you the truth, I'm like, as far as vaccines, I haven't taken any flu vaccine in the last 10, maybe 15 years.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm around a lot of people who do take the vaccine. So, and I take care of myself. Not saying that's 100% effective in immunity, but that's herd immunity, as State of Franchise Sports points out. So,
Just like me, I haven't taken the flu shot since I was a chair car driver, which was way back. I mean, I'm talking 2014. I don't get sick anymore. So it's one of those things where, things just affect certain people in certain ways. I've never had the flu. But
Right.
I think that they seriously, all the sports leagues need to do this. Look, take the fucking vaccine. Period. If y'all want this cash cow to continue to flourish, and you want fans to eventually be in a position to come back, then y'all have to be healthy first, and we need to cut out these fucking these Kawhi's missing this game and he got a quarantine, and Kemba Walker and whoever else you pick them. I would just say that, look, behind the scenes, just give them the fucking vaccine, man.
Yeah, because the question comes into factor when they talk about like the priority levels. Since they're playing and have been playing throughout this pandemic, wouldn't that make them essential workers, and wouldn't that put them higher on a priority list? And plus, I think Brian Hollins brought this up between him and OG. They have enough money. Can't money just provide them with the vaccine?
But not only that, when you have these players playing, you got medical on staff, and those guys they're essential. They should be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
not even the money aspect, the fact that you have medical staff that probably already taken the vaccine. So why, as a player, am I not getting the vaccine, but the medical people that I'm working with in the training rooms and stuff, like, they get it before I get it, and I'm around people that more than likely will get it. So yeah, everyone needs to get it in the league, not just.
That's what I'm saying.
Like I said, I think at the end of the day,
that's
they need to get that straight.
Like I said, I think at the end of the day, I think it with I think with State of Franchise story, so you could definitely place it in the flu category, but also be pneumonia category as well. Yeah. There's a range for most, and they're healthy and will be fine. See, that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's not that I'm just saying
to treat it as
right. Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying brush it under the rug, but it's like when I'm looking at the people that are getting it, that are in the league, or people that you hear about the coaches getting it, even the coaches that are older. You don't hear about the coaches like being sidelined to the point where, coach such and such is in the hospital, you need to pray. You don't hear about that. Most of them be like, okay, we're just going to travel differently, or he's going to be back here, he's going to quarantine. You don't really hear about like these people like actually getting sick. And I'm not saying wait for it to happen, but I'm just looking at the data. It's like, all right. With that being said, how serious is this for people that are in this age group? Now, Bills came up with another point, said just give them the vaccine. I'm for that as well. Just go ahead and just kill it, get it all out of the way, so there's no more speculation. Nobody's getting, having to postpone games or any of this other craziness. So I'm with you on that as well. It's just,
I hate to be that guy. Think about this. Magic Johnson came out in 1991.
Oh, here we go.
No.
I like where Bill was going with this one.
Because this is interesting. Magic Johnson in 1991 said he had the HIV virus, and we ain't heard shit about it since. The motherfucker came back to the NBA, played, coached, sucked as a coach. You haven't heard shit about. All you hear about him is owning some sorry-ass movie theaters, some sorry-ass restaurants.
Wait, hold up. At least the ones in Maryland are pretty good.
All right, the ones in Maryland good. All right, and the Dodgers, that's all you hear. You don't think Magic Johnson, HIV positive? You think Magic Johnson, Dodgers owner and Lakers great. So, I mean, if that motherfucker's HIV can disappear out of thin air, then they need to shit, come on, bro. They cured that shit. They cured it. They just cured it. Here you go, bro. We ain't supposed to give the shit out. Here you go, bro. Go ahead. Cure that real quick.
And I will say this. I know OG pulled up last week with his bubble championship. These are your last real champions right here. All 162 games. Took out the Dodgers and won the World Series against the cheating-ass Astros. So these are the last real champions that played a full season, not the bubble champion Dodgers. So
they need to
you
go ahead.
If you want to pull up and defend that, then you can
go ahead and give everybody that vaccine. Get it out of the way. We don't have to hear any more about this shit. Magic don't got HIV anymore. Stevie Wonder ain't blind. I mean, come on, bro. He said 93 Bills. You were in diapers. I mean, bro, I do my research. That don't got nothing to do with me being in diapers. I was in diapers when Sam Cooke was singing too. I know more about Sam Cooke than a lot of people too. So I mean, I look. Give them the fucking vaccine, and if they don't want to take it, they can sit their ass at home somewhere.
Right, like Kyrie.
Well, that's my choice, but we're not going to get into him because
you never know. They might have already gave that ultimatum and said, "Look, bro, you take the vaccine."
Probably, yeah. You know what? That could be what's going on.
You never know.
I mean, he did. Right. He still thinks the world is flat. So,
all right. Well, let's get up out of here, man. Y'all got anything else? Bills, what you got before we go?
Good episode. Good to see you back in good spirits for this episode. Good to see everybody that showed up in the chat.
Tadal pulls up at the last second, though.
Tadal pulls up at the last
second. It's all good.
Like
hey, better late than never, bro. Glad that you're here.
The last second, like a Michael Jordan game winner.
Magic had the special kind of HIV. Yeah, the one that didn't exist.
Hold on, y'all. I'll be right back.
But yeah, shout out to everybody that showed up. And yeah, this episode was fun, man. It was fun.
Yeah, so last we heard, Magic was down to 1 aid. That actually was a Family Guy joke that they did.
Last we heard, he was down to 1 aid, and it was a financial aid to buy another sports team.
So. All right, so yeah, welcome back, VF. Glad you're in good spirits. We definitely was going to attempt to hold it down if you weren't able to make it. I do recognize that this is therapeutic for you as well. So, you have brought it up a couple of times. You brought it up a little bit earlier about mental health, and it's definitely good to see you. So. And it's good to see everybody else. I don't want to cut everybody else out, but it was a good episode. Got a lot out. I think it winds up being therapeutic for everybody involved. So, Bills was here. I'm here. Now we got all three of us involved in making this channel grow, and the audience. You guys are lovely. OG, you're ducking. I'm going to just call it as it is because you haven't said anything since trying to defend Bills and his holding ass Buccaneers. So, because he's not going to defend that bubble World Series championship, that shrink wrap bubble World Series where the Nats was just like, you know what, you can go ahead and have that. We don't care. So... But great show, great topics. Looking forward to next week.
Yeah, like I said, I is the reason why I wanted to come back here and do this episode because, I know a lot of people that are in the chat, and I see it all the time. Like some people will say, like, "Yo, you guys come through, you make me, forget about some situations that I have, or had a couple people who had family members who passed or." They end up getting COVID and they come to us and they listen to us and we turn things around in their lives for at least for that moment. And I know I felt like I needed this. I needed to do this because I know I had no doubt that you guys would have came through and actually, made my day. And I really appreciate it because I'll be the first one to tell you it hasn't been good for me for the past couple of days. It really hasn't. And it was at one point I was just gonna say, "Hey guys, I'll see you guys on the 26th when we was gonna go over to Twitch." But I was like, "No, you know what? I need to do this. I need to come here. I need to make some topics. I need to interact with you guys because even if it's just for the 2 hours and 20 minutes that we're here, it gives me some form of normalcy. It gives me a peace of mind. It gives me some time to actually just." get my mind off of a lot of things, the what ifs or why this or how did this happen or stuff like it gives me that chance to get away from that. And I really appreciate everybody who came through and everybody who commented, people who came through, everybody who hit the like button. I'm thankful for my two co-hosts that actually came in and actually was not only to come here to do the episode, but they actually was going to take the initiative and keep the ball rolling for you guys who listen. And I appreciate that. Like I said earlier, that just goes to show that this is bigger than whatever I decided to put together when I decided to put this together back in 2017. I mean, it's crazy. We've been doing this for almost 3-4 years now. It's crazy. Yep. But it's like I said, I needed this, and I appreciate everybody who came through because it's something that, at the end of the day, is something that is needed. You guys are, to me, is becoming a family type of situation here, where we all can get together and have some form of, camaraderie. We have some type of, dialogue. We can actually feel and understand one another of our thought process when it comes to sports, gaming, and hell, even life. Because, like I said on my shirt, it's sports, gaming, and life. And at the end of this podcast, we talked about how we feel about this whole pandemic thing and how we are dealing with it, how we deal with gaming. Like, a couple people said it got them out of trouble, and honestly, gaming for the past couple of days have gotten me out of situations to where I could have, I could have had a mental breakdown, and I felt like I was strong enough to do this, and I'm glad that I was able to, and I think from here going forward, everything's gonna be a little bit better. I do plan on going down to Savannah, and we're gonna get all preparations together for my uncle, and that's gonna open up a whole nother can of worms. But I plan on being here throughout this entire time, so hopefully you guys will continue to watch, continue to support. I am gonna be moving over to Twitch on January 26th. It's about 2 weeks away. But the podcast will be here in a recorded form. So if you don't catch us live there, I will upload it to here on the next day. And
get your Twitch accounts ready.
Yeah, get your Twitch accounts ready.
Don't have Twitch accounts. Get your Twitch accounts ready.
Yeah, get your Twitch account ready. And if once you get on Twitch, go to Twitch. It's VF Baller. If you want to go to DJ's Twitch, it's Evo325. And if you want to go to Bill's, it's JMB3293. If you can't catch those, what you need to do after this podcast is over, just go back to this point around the 2:30 mark, and you can see all the Twitch handles. And just go over there and follow all three of us. So it's great.
I was going to say this. I probably should have said this before we went live. Do we have the IG up as far as a banner that people can go to?
I had no idea.
It's basically
First and Frame Rates. At First and Frame Rates, literally.
Okay,
on IG.
So is that First and Frame Rate? So just go to IG and you go there, and we'll do our own. We'll be posting over there as well. So I will see you guys probably tomorrow. I think I'm gonna stream some random games. Sunday, I'm definitely going to try to get Joe Montana 93, and we could do that on Sunday. I think it's appropriate to do that game, and I'll be playing that game for the Sunday retro stream. So tomorrow probably be some NBA Live. Saturday will probably be some football, or probably I might even get back on Cyberpunk. I need to do that, and some other game prior to that. I'll be doing a few games, and definitely Sunday night it's going to be Joe Montana 93. So we'll be doing that. Thanks to everybody. Go ahead.
One last thing. I did put up an upload of State of K2. I'm going to be back at it. They're going to be in the form of uploads, not necessarily streams. So
okay.
And OG, you ain't shit. I saw what you just said. Yeah, thank God for Tampa Bay's front offensive line, but hey, it is what it is.
He said, "Shout out to the roster defense."
Come on, boy. Yeah, so Terry Rozier's bitch ass now.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that, Mr. Ham. But yeah, like I said, State of Franchise said celebrate Uncle Baba doing this as it was. Yeah, exactly. Let me tell you, I'm gonna say this before I go. Like I said, it's a reason why I play the games I play. I mean, he was a master at figuring things out, and he never wanted the computer to beat him. He never wanted the system to beat him, so he always played alone. That's just how, like, I think I said that in my video. Like, he would set up board games and he would play the games by himself. He would play a deck of cards by himself. He'd do a lot of solitaire, or he'll play like a game of poker by himself. I mean, he would literally do these type of things, but he would literally, play these games by himself. And I think that's where I get it from, where I rather play offline games, and I don't want to get beat by the game. I think Antonio Wilson, he's not in the chat, but like, I play fighting games on like very hard difficulties, and I keep playing until I beat it. I think that one game on my original Xbox, I did that on one of the Sunday streams, but I get that from him. That's where I get it from. I feel like us as humans are better than these damn machines, and I'm not going to let them beat me no matter what. And I get that from him. So I'm an offline gamer to the core, and he's the reason why I did that. But I'm not sure. I'm almost certain that 93 was his game. I'm almost certain that Joe Montana 93 was his game. So I will be playing that on Sunday. So I don't have anything else, man. Thanks everybody for the kind words. You guys are amazing. And
I'm waving the cat in the chat.
Yeah, I see. So. Hey, Cat, how you doing? I appreciate you coming through. But I thank everybody for the kind words, everything on Twitter, everybody who posted on the last stream, all the likes and all the prayers and condolences. I really appreciate it. You guys are amazing, and I really mean that. And it's still not over yet. Got a few more things got to take care of, and it's going to be a long road, but I feel like this is a road to healing, because I do hurt. I'm not going to lie to you guys, I do. But you guys are making it better more than you guys ever know. So I will see you guys tomorrow. I will be streaming something, and hopefully you guys will come through. And definitely we'll be back on the podcast on Tuesday. All right, you guys be blessed. You guys be safe, and I will definitely see you guys tomorrow. Shut up, Mr. Ham. Good night. Good night, Mr. Ham. Peace.
Fuck Karl Malone.
Wow.